Hello and welcome to the Our Metroidvania podcast. I'm Professor Q.
This is Caldras from the R Metroidvania subreddit and Discord.
This is Master. I'm also from there. And today we're playing Castlevania. Castlevania 64, that is. It's not actually called that, but that's what I call it. I don't know anything about this game. I don't know why I picked it, so let's just start.
Let's just jump right in.
You can create Castlevania in this game.
So this week we don't have, this isn't pre-recorded, this is Master playing live. So we will hear him reacting to the gameplay as much as you would expect. And I'm going to be quiet so the music can play.
These are some terrible bats.
I'm actually impressed with the sound quality for a cartridge game.
We're gonna find out on this stream that this is the most underrated game of all time.
There's somebody who...
It wouldn't be saying much. It's not rated very highly.
There's somebody on the Our Metroidvania Discord who always says that Castlevania 64 is great. And I don't know if they're being facetious or not. They might be being legit. I don't know. Or unironic.
Transylvania, in the mid-19th century, the province of Wallachia. In this time of peace and plenty, no one foresees...
So do you think this is going to be a Metroidvania?
But the old...
I have heard it is not.
And soon, the land will again be plunged into darkness.
So I have played this when it first came out, but all I really remember is that there's a guy with a whip, and you can also play as a female character, which you've already seen that. So, but I think it was like a linear progression of levels.
Dooms him to oppose the might of...
That's what I've been told when I asked around on forums about it, because I was trying to gather up all of the Metroidvania ones when I was trying to review them all.
begins his quest.
Most people said this is kind of an evolution of Classicvania.
Is this game canon?
No idea.
Courage. Don't leave me.
Don't know how to interact with things on the ground. This game doesn't tell me that.
So would you say this game needs some better tutorialization?
Maybe it was intended to read the manual. Oh, there we go. It's I just have to tilt my right stick to the right.
Wait, there wasn't even a right stick on the N64. Is your right stick bound to like the C button?
Yeah, it's bound to that. I didn't really so I set up these controls when I played Mario 64. I haven't changed them. That's an amazing skeleton. This is already better than Harmony.
And Harmony was like all skeletons, didn't you say?
Yeah.
You would think that if they had that many, they'd at least try to be high quality skeletons.
Yeah, I guess it is quality over quantity with Castlevania. Wait, did I say that the wrong way?
Well, you said Castlevania, so you didn't really narrow it down. I like how you're just like running at this skeleton, like Benny Hill music playing. Like, get back here so I can knife you.
Salmes is saying that there's some streaming issues, so I'm kind of checking it right now. That's why I'm kind of quiet, just FYI.
Oh my god. How do I lock on? I know this game has a lock on.
So I'm watching the stream right now, and it seems fine on my end, but I also don't have the sound on.
You're watching it on Twitch?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm trying to do it on my phone, and it's kind of lagging on my phone too, but it's also on my phone.
So the game just kind of auto locks on to enemies near me, and I guess it turns the camera towards them.
So, having played both the 3D Igavania games, which I don't know if you could even count Lament of Innocence as one, but they all have, like, after the advent of Dark Souls and the targeting system from that game, everything feels wrong going backwards in time and when they were experimenting with different lock-on systems.
You mean the lock-on system from Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, yes. It was Ocarina of Time that started it, and then Dark Souls added the free camera, where you can control the camera with the right stick. I'm sure Dark Souls is not the one that started it, but it's the first game, third-person game, that uses that Ocarina of Time style lock-on system that I had played, where you could freely move the camera with the right analog stick. I'm sure there's like a third-person shooter out there, like the Ratchet and Clank games had kind of third-person shooter elements to it, where you had free camera usage and etc. But as far as melee combat goes, yeah, it feels wrong if it's not similar to Dark Souls now. It's interesting that the whip just kind of looks like you're shooting a blur at the enemies. It's always amusing going back to when they had all these limitations and kind of how they addressed them. One thing I wanted to bring up was, infamously, in a magazine, they were making fun of the PlayStation and how its graphics were so much worse than the N64. And they compared this game to Castlevania Symphony of the Night and said, look how much better this game looks compared to Symphony of the Night. So what do we think about that? This is definitely better than Symphony of the Night. What do you think?
Well, with that premise, I mean, at the time, maybe people, like, it was impressive to have 3D graphics at the time.
Sure.
Like, at all.
Symphony of the Night holds up today, I think. This game, just the draw distances, the fact that we saw the wall just now instead of keeping on the action. Like,
Well, the action was on a skeleton, and I didn't see the skeleton, and it wanted to keep looking at the skeleton.
right, so the camera looks like it's still that learning phase of how do you record the action for the player. It doesn't hold up as well today.
I mean, hey, even Dark Souls has problems with camera positioning and walls, like,
Sure.
infamously, all the time.
Except Dark Souls also gives you control over it. How much control do you have over it here?
See, I can hold down a button and then kind of just makes me look in that direction. But right now, these enemies keep spawning and it keeps making me look at them. I can't really demonstrate it.
Hey, look, you got the cross. What does that look like? I'm noticing you don't have hearts in this game.
Yeah, I have some sort of energy. I don't know what that actually means.
I also think it's interesting that they made the choice to make you pick up the jewels. It seems like the jewels are what you use to throw your
Yeah.
sub weapons. I'm sorry, Salmes.
Have you actually thrown a sub-weapon yet?
Yeah. Oh, the cross is great, but I just used up all my energy.
The cross is
unfortunately.
always great in every Castlevania. It is like the best sub weapon, or it's the most useful sub weapon. I should put it that way. It has the most
And these
universal
skeletons
application.
just keep spawning. So it seems like I can hold down R1, which I've mapped, to just look at whatever enemy I'm locked onto.
So another thing from a design perspective, like comparing this to classic Vania, those skeletons really aren't in your way. It seems like you could kind of just run around them. Whereas, in a 2D plane, that you can kind of force the player to have to address the enemy because they don't have any other choice.
Yeah.
Although I guess the camera kind of forces you to address them.
Trying to figure out what button to press, but it's there we go.
So among the
This game does look pretty good upscaled on this emulator. Not all games look good upscaled.
sometimes they look better when they're on the CRT and they can be all blurred up. That's the argument that I hear people make a lot of times anyway.
Well, it's usually for like sprite graphics that are specifically designed to work with the CRT. I don't know that like a lot of polygon graphics are that way.
Gosh, with Castlevania music, it's such a mandala effect for so much of it. There's a song in Curse of Darkness, I think it's called Bogazet Mountains or something like that. I could have swore it was in Symphony of the Night, but it's apparently a unique song to Curse of Darkness.
Wow. This game has running skeletons in addition to normal skeletons.
And I just heard a song in this game that I could swear is in a different Castlevania game. Are you playing a Belmont in this game?
My name's Reinhardt. I think I'm a Belmont.
So his last name is like Schneider, but it said that he's a descendant of the Belmonts.
Okay. I always think it's interesting when they try and change the last name for some reason. And yet the vampire killer whip has to be the same for some reason.
Although, when did they start calling it the Vampire Killer? Because they definitely didn't like talk about that in the early Castlevania games, unless they did it in the instruction manual or something like that.
I think it was called Vampire Killer in Castlevania, Super Castlevania 4. I think. Oh gosh, it's an exploding skeleton. This is a lot of respawning enemies. I guess their attempt to make it more like classic Vania is just the number of enemies they throw at you.
Well, even Igavania's had like areas where like zombies and skeletons would continuously spawn.
Sure, but usually you could just leave that room pretty quickly. So far, looks like this has been the entire game.
See, I can't really look down at things.
How's it going, Retrovania? Those exploding skeletons seem like a real pain.
Wonder how I get my health back.
When you die.
So do you
find the
automatically
wall chicken.
pull out the dagger when enemies get close?
No, there's a separate attack button bound to the dagger. I guess this is a sword.
Oh, that's neat.
Wait, it's still on my back when I attack.
It's a different sword.
Yeah. See, you're pulling it out of like off of your right hip.
It's your psychic mind sword, and the sword on your back just gives you confidence. All right, well, this is officially a Metroidvania because you seem pretty lost. Oh, Oh, so Retrovania says this was his first Castlevania. So with the nostalgia goggles on, do you still think this is a good game? Or did you think it was a good game back then? What the heck just hurt you?
So I activated this thing, and now the skeletons are frozen. I guess so they don't attack me because this isn't a cutscene, sort of. I don't know. Oh, I'm being attacked though. I think I'll just
It
leave.
appears that this game has some broken aspects to it. It looks like Retrovania is having connection issues as well. I am streaming at 720p, so there shouldn't be any issues with the connection, I don't think.
Well, now we'll see if you get to refill your health when you die.
Nope. Interesting. Maybe if I just whip enough wall, I'll find food.
Check.
See, it's a lot harder to just go around whipping walls in a 3D game, though.
So does this game inspire any topics that anybody wanted to talk about?
We could talk about Castlevania as a series if we really wanted.
Sure, we could do that. So that was something we... So after the stream last week, we seemed to get into conversations that... that Sarah was accusing you of stealing her games, Master. She says she already beat Legacy of Darkness. I don't think Master's going to be beating anything tonight. Although it looks like we're making progress finally.
I feel like if I make this jump, I'll die. Yeah. Okay.
I like how instant death when you touch the water.
He doesn't know how to swim.
Why did that become a trope? Why can't characters swim?
Because they don't want to put swimming animations in.
Just make it lava instead of water or something. Like, jeez.
Infamous, I liked how that game handled it. That his superpowers were lightning, so when you get in water, everything starts going electric. That was it was a good explanation other than you hit the water and all of a sudden the undertow takes you.
There's also plenty of games where I'm thinking most specifically of Phenotopia, where they just address that the character doesn't know how to swim.
Yeah, I think it's funny how you just get a floaty to solve that problem. I like that the solution to the problem is she gets a floaty and not that she learns how to swim.
Yeah, but do everything else perfectly.
That is something that's pretty common to Metroidvanias, is that like the character themselves doesn't really learn anything over the course of a game. They just like get new stuff that lets them do things.
Sure. The flotation device is actually somewhat common. I've seen it in at least 3 Metroidvanias where you just get on the water and you float at the top with the item.
So am I being dumb, or is there just no way I can make it up there?
Can you double jump?
No.
Have you tried?
Yes. Unless there's another button to double jump.
Isn't the area up there just the area you came from?
Yeah, but I have to go back. This is a dead end.
Oh yeah, lowered the
the
thing
switch.
so you can just cross normally.
Like, am I missing something? Am
So
I just being
Sarah
dumb?
says that she didn't go this way, so and maybe there's another direction you can go from the top. The game seems to kind of lead you down here, though, so that's a little weird.
Is there... I can't move my camera to see... Oh! What, you can grab onto ledges?
Well, maybe that's the
Okay.
thing.
So maybe I'm supposed to grab onto that ledge. But I don't know how to do that.
So I heard from a friend that this game is notoriously bad, but that could have just been their opinion.
So those platforms don't like start out raised, and they wind up getting lowered when he pulls that switch.
I'm trying to figure out what else that switch does for you.
Probably
that-
opens up the game. That's what the
Yeah.
last one did.
Yeah, it says mechanism to open the grating. I don't know
So-
how he knows that.
You picked up the roast beef. You have to use it from the item menu.
Oh, I can change the time of day with cards. Interesting.
Metroidvania says that his mother was very leery of letting him rent this game at the time because it was rated T and he wasn't a teenager yet.
Oh.
This was also his first T game. Did that change your perspective or expectation of what T meant?
Wow.
You solved the puzzle.
This is the Kaizo Castlevania stream. So last week after we finished the stream, we got on a conversation about the Metroid series, and they coaxed me to talk about Other M for a little bit. And we thought it might be fun to talk about the directions that our favorite Metroidvania series could go, especially now that the companies that own them don't seem to be doing much with them. And we talked about maybe doing one for Castlevania and one for Metroid. And if we want, we could do that tonight.
We could. Is Castlevania going anywhere?
So apparently Konami just like reopened their gaming division or something like that.
Yeah, that's the rumor. Wait. So Etzero says that her parents let them play Symphony of the Night all they want, but they were banned. They weren't allowed to play it with music on.
Why?
It's the devil's music.
I guess.
Oh.
I don't really recall. I mean, it has a little bit of rock and rollish music.
Or maybe they just didn't want to hear it.
Oh, they were just annoyed by the music. Castlevania Symphony of the Night has great music. That's not. That doesn't seem right. That's interesting.
It's still repeating music, which I could see.
Some
how
of
that
it,
could
some
get
of it
annoying.
can be. Are we the best people to talk about the Castlevania series? Like, I'm a big Metroid nerd, and I do know a little bit about Castlevania lore, but I can talk about it for like 2 seconds before somebody else in the Discord is like, no, it's actually this way. So apparently I don't know enough about Castlevania lore to really be a authority on the subject. Not that I could.
This podcast has a very heavy Metroid bias.
I think that all three of us are Metroid people.
Yeah.
So I think
Okay, Sorry. I just realized I understand how the jumping works. So if you do a movement direction and then you jump shortly after, you do a hop.
Huh.
It's really weird.
So
That's why I
maybe
keep
that-
falling.
Maybe that they wanted it to be like a dodge move.
Yeah, this is a dodge. Look at that.
So at Sarah, that's actually something that I'm not good on, is the timeline for Castlevania. To me, it's really confusing, especially since like half the games aren't even canon. I can only go based off of what I know from the games because I don't really pay attention to the extra stuff. And that I have the same problem with Metroid as well, so I'm sure that people would get angry with me if I started talking as if I was an authority on Metroid. I never claimed to be an authority only as far as what the games provide me. Not half, just like 4. Lord of Shadows. Oh, yeah.
Like I played 1, 2, and 3, and then I skipped all of the other like classic Vanias. And I'm
I
actually
kind of don't like Castlevania. So I'm not really a person to
No,
talk
you're
about it
exactly
either.
the person that you should be on this stream. What we need is a real like super fan for Castlevania. I am a fan of Castlevania. I wouldn't call myself a super fan, not in the same way I'm a fan of Metroid.
So we need to get Phaserman on here.
Yeah, we need to get FaZe on here, or I mean, Itzero would be a good one to have on here as well. I mean, we could bring her in here if you want.
Yeah, these jumping controls are atrocious. Like, it's hard to explain. So to pull up, you have to move, I have to move my left stick up, but also, like, it doesn't matter the angle to the camera, it has to be up or else I won't go up, it'll only shimmy.
Yeah,
And,
that's something weird in a lot of 3D games where you climb up and like some games it's like you have to press towards the ledge, and then some games you have to press actually up. So when you're like, when the ledge is closer to you than the camera, then it gets really confusing in a lot of them.
So do we want to bring Itzero on the stream and have a Castlevania?
I mean, hey, I'm down with it.
Let's do it. Itzero, if you want to come on in. Sounds great. That sounds awesome. Come on in. Let's talk Castlevania. I will give my ideas, and you can tell me how wrong I am. I am more comfortable having an authority on the subject as I give my thoughts about that. So what we were talking about last week was about how Metroid directions that Metroid could go, and we'll definitely talk about that on a different stream at some other time. As far as where Castlevania can go, I think the only thing that Koji Igarashi has said is that he wants to do the 1999 Castlevania, which I guess we should.
I think that he's probably not going to do Castlevania anymore. He has Bloodstained now.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, that is just Castlevania.
He said he expressed interest in doing the 1999 Castlevania.
But how recently did he express that interest?
Like within the last, it was during an interview when they were talking about Bloodstained.
Oh.
So he's not completely separated from Castle. Or I don't think he's mentally separated from Castlevania at this point.
That's why he made Bloodstained.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome, Itzero.
Hello. Thank you for having me on stream.
Absolutely. Sorry for the last minute invite, but
No, that's fine.
we were talking about what we're going to talk about tonight, and we're like, well, we'll let the game lead us along the way, and talking about Castlevania is a good idea, I think. So, but we're glad to have you here, and we're glad to have someone who doesn't hate Castlevania like Master does.
Master and I are polar opposites in that front.
I think it's good to have polar opposites when talking about the subject.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything interesting to say besides, like, Castlevania sucks in my opinion. Like, I can't really talk about it.
Well, you can talk about what you think sucks about it.
Oh, everything.
Oh my god. You're playing... Okay, you're not even playing the good Castlevania 64. You're playing original Castlevania 64 with even more bugs, and you play as Reinhardt, who is terrible. You
How
could
am I
have been a
supposed to
cool
know that?
Wolfman. You could have asked.
It was a surprise!
Yeah, and then Ishi said it, and it's like, hey, you guys playing Castlevania 64?
But Master's theme is kind of playing games that he hates.
Yeah.
So how in the know are you, Itzero, on the community's feelings on this game? Do they consider it the worst Castlevania? I've heard some people say that's what it is.
That's usually the consensus with the fandom that I've seen, is that it's a terrible game. Like, I played it on stream. I played Legacy of Darkness. I played the quote-unquote second release, which had the updated, it, like, phased out some of the bugs. It had more characters you could play as. It wasn't terrible, but it had its issues.
So wait, is it literally just a better version of this game?
In my opinion, it is.
But it's a
Like-
different game.
You pretty much go through the same story. Well, no, it's not the same story. I shouldn't say that. But it uses all the same maps, pretty much all the same assets. You still fight Dracula, spoiler alert. So, I'm sorry, I know, I just ruined the whole Castlevania series.
Where did I find roast chicken?
Man, I can't think of any Castlevania game where you don't fight Dracula except for one in particular.
2, technically.
What's the second one?
Dawn of Sorrow.
Oh, that's
Sequel.
true. Well, no, you do fight. You sort of do.
Okay, Okay, spoiler alert for anyone who would ever play Dawn of Sorrow. Mute this stream for a minute. This is your only warning. Okay, yes, in the bad ending with Julius mode, yes. Okay, Cat, stop playing with the toy. In Julius mode, yes, you technically do fight Soma as Dracula, alright, and he does all the weird, the cool moves and stuff that Dracula does.
I actually wasn't thinking of Arya when I was thinking of Castlevania that you didn't fight Dracula. I was thinking about Lament of Innocence.
Well, no, that's true. You don't.
It's not Dracula, yeah.
Yet. Yet.
Well, you don't even fight yet.
No. Okay, I got to the final boss and then I just stopped playing.
Anyway, playing Castlevania for the plot in general is kind of a dubious... I think Castlevania... Okay, so here's my opinion on Castlevania. I think that its plot brushes against the profound and never crosses the line. It has a lot of really good ideas that could be developed into an incredible and timeless story, but it never actually reaches that point. Usually because it's drenched in camp to the point where it can't... It can't accomplish that. But the camp isn't strong enough to be a feature unto itself. Like I always say, it's not dramatic enough to be meaningful, and it's not campy enough to be JoJo good.
And yet they make JoJo references.
Oh yeah, they make JoJo references in Castlevania. I'd like it if they went full Jump the Shark JoJo camp.
I feel like Symphony of the Night did that, and then they realized with the English translation, wait, no, that's not a good idea. Let's dial that back a little.
Oh, that's the only good thing about that game.
So wait, you're saying
we made progress. We found something Master likes about a Castlevania game.
He likes when I was making fun of it on my stream too, and it's like,
Come
on.
Are you talking about the original release of Symphony of the Night, or are you talking about the re-releases?
Yes.
Okay.
The die, monster. You don't belong in this world.
Yeah,
Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
I want to point out
those memes.
I want to point out that not only was the Japanese version not like that, but Igarashi really disliked the fact that the English version was that campy.
The Japanese version is really good because that's the only version you can play on the Saturn. Is the Japanese version, and it sounds really good. And then you go to the English version, and it's like, what is this?
And honestly, part of my problem might be the fact that I'm playing the localized versions of these games, and maybe they just completely botched them up. With that said, Lament of Innocence, everybody's just so uncanny valley in that game that I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine if they updated the localization, if that would actually improve it for me.
Yeah, Curse of Darkness wasn't as bad. Lament of Innocence, they're just trying to we tried Castlevania 64, that was a flop. Let's try it again on the PS2.
Wait, there's fall damage in this game?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
All right, sorry, I was distracted by the fall damage. What were you saying, Sarah?
Oh, I should actually watch the stream on Masters. I'm being dumb.
You're not watching the stream?
I'm watching the stream with the latency.
Oh.
Yeah, you can respond to chat that way, though.
Yeah, that's why I watched the actual stream.
But yeah, no, Curse of Darkness, that was decent. Still haven't beaten that either. I got to the second to last boss, stopped playing it. But that one was a lot better, in my opinion, than Lament of Innocence. Mainly for the sole fact you can control the camera.
Yes, well, that by itself is enough reason. I actually like Curse of Darkness a lot. It's different. You have to embrace the grind a little bit, I think, to enjoy Curse of Darkness. But it has a good grind, which is something we were talking about a little bit earlier today. Was clearly I have preferences when it comes to grinding that probably have less to do with good or bad game design and more to do with my preference. But in my opinion, Curse of Darkness has a pretty good setup. It's an interesting system to play with.
Yeah. Well, and fighting at least is fun in that game. It feels rewarding enough where you do want to go seek out stronger enemies and beat them, essentially.
Yeah, and it feels like
And they have hidden bosses.
and there's actual layers to the combat mechanics, so you feel like you're getting better.
Yes. And I would venture to say it is a crest-like.
You're just
So
pulling
this
out
There
that.
is no...
The opposite of Coyote Time, I think.
Okay, there is no interconnected map. It is not a Metroidvania in the sense that you have elevators that take you places, so it breaks the flow. And you usually have keys more than you have abilities. So I guess it's kind of more on the fringe of a Zelda-like.
Oh, Curse of Darkness, you mean?
Yeah.
It has some ability gating with the familiars. Like you have the one familiar that gives you the floating ability, and then you have the one that lets you turn into a shadow, so you can go through the grates. It has it. I mean, I'm not going to argue that it is a lower fit Metroidvania, but I think that you could make the argument using the usual rules that people set out to determine if it's a Metroidvania.
I think those elevators are what kills it for me. I think they break up the flow way too much. And then you usually have an elevator, and then that kind of acts as your teleport.
Yeah, I think that the elevators were necessary from a hardware limitation standpoint, but I
Oh,
can see what you're saying.
100%.
Yeah.
So is that significantly different from how Super Metroid was?
That's the argument I always make, is those elevators separate the world map.
I mean, how many did Super Metroid have? Like, 3?
3. I actually think Super Metroid included elevators only because Metroid 1 did.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you're on this one. Oh, yeah,
They have motorcycles? What?
Yes, they do.
This is what I mean about camp.
And they don't even you don't see them ride in or come out of the ground. It's
No.
just you scroll the screen over and suddenly there's skeletons on motorcycles.
There,
It's completely normal.
It's so unexpected.
there's some that have guns, too.
Come to
so
think
I
of it-
think they have the guns in this game.
The main character is sort of wearing a leather jacket that seems a little bit more modern, so I guess we've
I
dated
wanna
this game.
say 1830s is what this one takes place in, I want to say.
There were motorcycles in the
motorcycles.
1830s.
There's skeletons ahead of us. And,
The train was just barely a thing.
Let me check my facts on that.
I mean,
I'm bad
in,
with the spin-offs.
in Dawn of Sorrow, they're about the same time period as now, and he doesn't use a gun.
You can get a gun in game.
Yeah,
this
but
game?
he does.
Oh.
But he generally just uses swords and stuff like that.
No.
It made more sense in Aria when you were in Aria. You were kind of spirited away to Dracula's castle, and you didn't really have access to the world around it. But there's nothing stopping Soma from leaving the cultist's mansion in Dawn of Sorrow, bringing in an army and storming the place.
Just nuke the place.
Why didn't he call up Scotland Yard and be like, "Hey, there's all these cultists and they're summoning demons."
Honestly, the location of Dawn of Sorrow has always confused me. I'm like, are they in Japan? Did he just go to Transylvania? Where are they?
Right.
I have never figured out where that cult is headquartered at, and it kind of annoys me.
There's a little bit of ludonarrative dissonance there, and the fact that it behaves like Dracula's castle and in the magical way and is full of monsters all the time. Like I said, if I were Soma, I'd be like, all right, either I'm leaving to go get people, or you're leaving, and say that to the two shopkeepers that hang around for no reason.
Okay,
And
no,
go get help.
Hold up here. Hold up. Hammer is a loyal friend of
Hammer,
Soma,
that's
and
his
he just
name.
wants to make a quick buck.
And Yoko.
Second of all, Yoku plays the stereotypical role, of the older sister who has to, take care of him because Julius is out being a Belmont nerd fighting the demons, so she's like, fine, I guess I have to set up shop here and I'll help you.
Okay, she does help you with the soul arts thing, but it's funny because she's perfectly capable because she's a fighter in the Julius mode.
She's a Bonaldez. Yeah, she's more than capable.
Right, exactly. So she should totally be helping him. They should have had character
I mean,
switching
yeah.
in Dawn of Sorrow. But Donosauro's plot is one example of what I mean, where they have great ideas. I like the bad ending in Donosauro more than I like the normal ending in Donosauro. They have great ideas, but they don't structure them well enough.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Master, here's the part where you need to use the cards.
Oh, okay. Why'd you tell me that?
I'm sorry!
You just broke
Because I
his.
feel like
While
you'd be
I
really
play a game
frustrated.
For 5 seconds.
We all know.
He
Like,
didn't-
Master can't solve puzzles. What would happen?
All right, so let's see. So Sphere Kurbon says they did a run of Aria where they only used the silver gun. I've actually thought about trying that sometime. Doing a gun run. It's much more fun in Bloodstain when you can get the infinite ammo thing. Can you? They don't have ammo in the Dawn game though. You just have infinite ammo.
No,
in that
you can
game.
just keep shooting it. There is a gun that's a laser gun. It's like the only hint that this takes place actually in 2036. It's like a laser rifle or something.
I wonder if we'll ever use laser rifles
In
Probably
real
not.
life?
in real life. Yeah, like we always use them in the sci-fi, and I think the excuse is always because they have infinite ammo or something.
Issue, did you really try to fight Chaos with a silver gun?
The fire does not do damage to you. I'm taking points off. Though I think those trees that were on fire earlier did do damage.
I'm pretty sure La Mulana is full of torches that don't do damage to you. Actually, it's pretty normal for fire to not do damage to you in Castlevania, like all the candles and stuff that you go past.
Yeah, they don't usually do damage.
Yep, but
So
those are
this-
background
this
elements.
is standard. This is
Exactly.
standard.
Background's different. This is a 3D game.
Like, you can see that he's actually in the fire in this game.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That's a thing. You don't. I guess the solution would be to not put you so close to the fire that you can touch it.
What? Just have like recessed torches, I guess.
Yeah, recessed torches or something to avoid that. I didn't even see that until it came down. So Master didn't fall at all in that area. That's actually pretty impressive considering how many times he
Wait.
fell in the first area.
That noise, I recognize that noise. I don't know what it was. I've heard that sound effect before, I swear.
I'm sure it's stock. Like the dragon noises that they make.
It might have been like a Dark Souls Drake noise or something.
Wow, that was a lot of loot.
That's just what dragons sound like.
Look at all that loot he dropped. And you have to pick it up like... You're getting good at this game, it seems like. I say as you get plastered.
As...
Oh,
Oh no.
yeah. It was nice knowing you.
ye of little faith.
Man, all that stuff despawned.
So going back to the idea that spawned this conversation, where could Castlevania go at this point if they made a new Castlevania game within the canon framework and not just the Lords of Shadow sequel or
Yeah, so if
spin-off?
they went forward, do you think they should go back or should they keep going with Lords of Shadow? Like, I know a lot of people didn't like Lords of Shadow, but it was kind of like their reboot.
I hate it, personally.
I need to play it. I've only played Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate, and I did
Which
not
is
like it.
That was probably the worst of the three.
It was bizarre. Like when talking about poorly constructed storytelling, that game was like incoherent. Like most of the Castlevania games, the issue isn't that they're incoherent, it's that they have good ideas that they don't expand on. Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate was straight up incoherent.
Yeah. I could never get into them because they just, to me at least, they made them unnecessarily edgy. Like, Castlevania's always been edgy, obviously. Always will be at this point in this day and age. but they just took it over the top in a bad way.
So I think one of the major differences, though, is that Lords of Shadow focuses on Dracula, whereas regular Castlevania focuses on the people fighting Dracula. So it's kind of necessarily more edgy.
Yeah. Also, they would need to make a 1999 game, like Issue was saying, and I was gonna say it too, because that's the game they need to make. They've hinted at it, they've teased it, and then ego left, and my soul died that day.
I bet you if you Google it right now, you'll find that interview where he says that he is still interested in doing that game.
God, if he did that, I would die happy. Actually, that and seeing the Castlevania concert.
Wasn't 1999 supposed to be like a big war or something like that, though?
Demon Castle War. Yeah, that was where the church, Alucard, Julius, and other members of some army, I don't know which army, they essentially gathered and they stormed Dracula's castle on the day of the eclipse and sealed his castle and killed Dracula for good, because once they sealed the castle in the eclipse, his power was cut off and they could kill him. But that does not explain the Crimson Ebony stones, so I have no idea about those and where those fit into the lore, since they added those in Lament of Innocence, so kind of have to see.
The Lament of Innocence didn't come after. I guess it had to have come after Aria of Sorrow.
Yeah, Aria of Sorrow came out in what, 1999? No. 2001?
2001, yeah, it was the 2000.
2003. Ooh. Dawn of Sorrow came out in, I believe, 2005.
And I think Lament was 2002? So I think Lament came first? I'm trying to remember. I mean, I reviewed that game, so I had to put the date in. Of course, that's technically true of all the other games, too. I just don't remember.
2003.
2003, so it was technically first. I'm okay with them forgetting about the whole stone thing. Because I thought that plot was a little bit...
Oh, it's wonky. Actually, Lament of Innocence came out in October. Aria of Sorrow came out in May. So Laments is in the middle of Dawn and Aria.
Okay, so I haven't seen the entire Netflix Castlevania series, but I'm going to say that in 5 minutes they gave more personality to Dracula than they did in the entire origin story for Dracula of the official Castlevania games.
They 100% did.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All they needed was more scenes with Dracula, other than, "Hi, I'm Dracula. By the way, I'm evil. Har har. I hate the world. I hate God.
My wife died
and
for
now I'm the
illness.
Lord of the Night. And now I'm the Lord of the Night. And I've got my disco ball, and it's going to help me be the Lord of the Night."
You forgot him being like, "Death, you're now my right-hand man." He's like, you got the Crimson Stone. I'll go with that.
He's like, "Okay, cool. That sounds good to me." Like, they had the entire game that they could have built that up. And it was just like the most slapped together thing.
I mean...
And like,
yeah.
the one thing that game accomplished was establishing that the vampire killer was the dead girlfriend of the first Belmont.
Hey, it was his wife. It was Sarah.
Was he actually married to her? I can't remember if
I'm
he was a
pretty
fiance
sure.
or not. That's the thing.
I think he was either about to be married or they were.
You see her so little that I didn't know what their relationship was.
And this is like the most major, like one of the most major reoccurring things in Castlevania.
Right,
you don't know what it is.
You get more romantic tension between the Belmont and the shopkeeper than you do to him and his wife. Like,
hey, he wasn't a shopkeeper. He was the alchemist.
Yeah, he was the alchemist guy.
First
yeah,
of all, you're absolutely right. There's a lot more. There's a lot more stuff between them.
It's frustrating.
Interesting point. Issue mentioned the after novel, which is actually not very discussed often, which I think it's a good point. So after Dawn of Sorrow, there was a novel made, which detailed Curtis Lang and Michelle Dynasty, I want to say. which she was the descendant of Grant. Holy crap, Grant's referenced in media after, Judgment. That's a first. Which details, I believe it's Olrox trying to come back and using the stones to become Dracula, if I want to say correctly. I tried reading it. Someone had a translated version. It was terrible, and I could not read it.
Olrox was just a one-off boss in Symphony of the Night, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he had his own room or something, didn't he?
He had his own area.
He's memorable enough that I recognize the name and remember the boss, so that's good.
Yeah. He was cool. Olrox or Olrock, I think, depending on the translation. But yeah, it was interesting that they had a novel that was a one-off for that. So it's not discussed much in lore.
So I want to address something that Sir Kurban said in the chat that they liked Matthias and thought that they were pretty interesting. I am going to say I think that all of the ideas in Lament of Innocence were great. The problem was the execution. Like, I just wanted Matthias to have a little bit more screen time, a little bit more personality. Like, I think that the most personality that Dracula has been given was in Symphony of the Night, when after you defeat him, like, it's corny, but he at least like seems like he has some kind of regret for what he's done in that game, which I think for Alucard is more of a defeat than actually killing him,
Oh god.
Like, there's layers there. I'm not saying it's executed well, but
We take what we can get with Castlevania.
I could hear Sarah chewing on her tongue right now. She's like,
No, because I know the whole ending quote pretty much.
Oh, right.
What is the man who gains the world but loses his own soul?
Right.
Matthew 16:26.
Matthew 16:26. I thought it was Ecclesiastes or something
Goodbye,
like that.
my son.
Goodbye.
And then Alucard's like, you died the day you lost the ability to love.
Wow.
Like, it's the only time that the most recurring character in the series has ever been given any kind of depth.
I would say Ecclesia gave him a little bit, but not too much. Same with Circle of the Moon. Like, they at least had dialogue and stuff. You walking into his throne room, him waking up, and it's like, what are you doing here?
Sure.
And then you whip his head off. So, they gave him a little more courtesy in Circle of the Moon and Order of Ecclesia.
Make your own Castlevania game where the protagonist is Dracula. Like, he's public domain. Do whatever you want.
Someone's doing that. It's a
that-
Metroidvania dating simulator, actually.
Oh yeah, Romancylvania. That's not going to be
Yeah,
any...
Romancylvania.
Well, I mean, if you wanted Dracula to have character development, I guess putting him in a dating sim is one way to do it.
Hey, I'm actually looking forward to it. I want to see how they do this.
And anything goes dating sim even. You got male and female options that you can choose from.
Is there, like, any way to recover my health? Besides
you find roasts in the candles. That's it.
Yeah, but it seems like these have static drops.
See, this is why you play Legacy of Darkness.
Okay, so
Lesson learned.
Like, that always drops an act.
I would say that Order of Ecclesia's Dracula is my favorite Dracula, just as a boss and etc. But also, in that game, he didn't need a personality. He was a symbol of everything that Shanoa had lost. Like, there he was fine that he was just a dragon for her to slay. Like,
Yeah.
there was so much weight from everything else that happened in that story that the Dracula was just basically a punching bag for her to vent her losses, which I think made him more compelling as a villain in that game. So as far as being executed as just the bad guy, I think Ecclesia did a great job with it.
I loved Ecclesia. I could not play it as a kid very well. I had to have my brothers beat some of the bosses because it brought back that classic Vania difficulty, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, every day I think about how I may have given Ecclesia the wrong score.
What did you give it?
I gave
low?
I gave it a 4 instead of a 4.5, which is where I've been like debating on going back and forth. I definitely think it's my favorite of the DS Castlevanias.
Even though it's a crest-like.
Yeah, I don't remember why. Like I ended up going with the 4 instead of the 4.5. Like I know I was on the fence even when I played it. But anyway, that's a whole other subject that we're going to talk about someday, but not today.
Also, Issue said, yeah, Ecclesia's story is great. I did love the story. Like, okay, spoilers for anyone who watches this podcast. Order of Ecclesia spoilers. When Baldwin or whatever that guy turned out to be evil, that shook me as a kid. I'm like, what? He's evil? Like, I was 10 when I played this. I was like, but he was my mentor. He was all nice.
You know, I've been conditioned at this point that anything resembling the Catholic Church in a video game is probably going to be evil.
See, nowadays, like when I played Bloodstain spoilers ahead, when I met Dominique, instantly I'm like, she's going to be evil.
Right.
Instantly knew it.
Yeah, that was the
problem
disappointing
with
thing about it.
streaming is that I can't like deafen myself to not hear the spoilers.
Trust me.
You can't technically mute yourself.
Trust me, it doesn't really matter that much.
It doesn't matter that much. Wait, you don't even like Castlevania. How does this matter? I'm
People
not
say
spoiling
that Ecclesia
tactics.
is like the best one.
Oh.
I want to
It's
try
really
it.
good.
I haven't played it yet 'cause I haven't finished Portrait because I hate Portrait.
Then
Well,
don't play
spoiler alert,
Portrait.
there's a Dracula in a Castlevania game.
Look at this Dracula.
Is this?
He looks pretty good.
Is this Dracula?
No, it is not.
He
Oh.
looks like a Dracula.
I know.
He does look
but
like
he's
Dracula.
not. Spoiler alert, he's not.
Have you seen any of those things where people like call all vampires Draculas?
That sounds like why can't Metroid crawl type.
Yeah.
Or the guy was like, when Die Hard jumped off the building and walked through the glass and got his feet all cut up, Die Hard was crazy.
I'm so mad that they made Samus a guy.
What?
Exactly. Why can't Samus crawl? Why is Samus not a guy?
Zelda is the boy.
I mean, technically an Ocarina of Time, but you know.
Okay, so my game design brain is like sending me alerts every time you use that white jewel to save. I'm like, it looks like the red jewels. Why would they do that? Why don't they make it look more unique?
Because they can reuse the geometry.
There's so
Yeah.
many more things wrong with this game.
Yeah, they didn't.
That's
they
my
had the same
nitpicking.
thing in Legacy.
My nitpicking brain. This game seems kind of random with his level design.
Oh, it's terrible. Like, it kind of gets worse the more you go on. Like, I spent an hour on one level just for the platforming itself.
It gets worse.
Yup. And it might be even worse in this version. Like I said, I played Legacy, not 64, so.
So one thing that I will say for this game, like a lot of 3D games I feel like are way too flat. This one does seem to have a good amount of verticality.
Saying nice things tonight, Caldras. Good. Keep those positive
It does.
vibes.
It also has some interesting characters. I don't know if they're in this version. I know one is, for sure.
It has verticality, but I don't really have any sense of, like, all of these hallways seem sort of random. They don't seem to connect to anything.
It looks like there's a lot of reused like level geometry that just gets stapled together. Kind of like the original Metroid.
Yeah.
Look at that Belmont lock.
He
Even
looks
though he's
like-
not a Belmont.
He looks like Ashley from Vagrant Story.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have
That
to
hair.
say,
Yeah.
another nice thing about this game, some of the levels really do have good music. It's reused music, mind you, from other games, but it's still really good.
I have the volume turned down low.
I can hear it a bit, so it should be coming over the stream.
Just for me, so I can like make sure it doesn't in case it randomly gets loud, it won't overwhelm the stream and this awesome
Oh.
conversation.
Fun fact, this song was actually also used in Circle of the Moon for the boss battles.
Oh.
Wow.
if I remember correctly.
Castlevania has this effect on me where I hear the song, I'm like, I gotta figure out what other game I heard this in.
I could probably tell you.
Hey, Master, didn't you actually like Circle of the Moon?
Yeah, I actually like Circle of the Moon.
So there is a Castlevania you like.
I don't hate Castlevania. I just don't like Castlevania.
So, okay, all right, let's talk about this then. Master, what's your favorite Castlevania of the ones you played?
I mean, Aria's like overall just pretty good game. Sorry, I'm getting mauled by a dog that's shooting fire. It's hard to think about all the other Castlevania games. Also, for me, a lot of the Castlevania games just blend together. And like, I don't remember which was in which game.
I know you absolutely despise Portrait.
Like, the worst is the bosses. I mean, obviously I remember Portrait's bosses because they're so terrible, but like... like, especially so many of the games will reuse a random boss.
Yeah,
and
you're
of
not
course I
wrong.
love Death, and I have no idea which is which. Or even which Dracula fight is which.
And
Unless
you
it's so egregious that I won't forget it, like Dawn of Sorrow.
And you generally don't have to spend a lot of time on any given boss because you have like so much access to healing that you just like fight the boss once and then you're done with them.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are hard.
Yeah, Issue said that you might not like Ecclesia, which is true. Some of those bosses are pretty, they're pretty yeesh in Ecclesia, but others are really good, in my opinion.
I mean,
I'm going to argue that Ecclesia might be the one he likes the most. So I'm saying he should play it. I'm interested to see if I'm right. on
Yeah.
Is that
Play it on
because
screen.
is that because the difficulty's higher?
that.
It's much higher.
Yeah, not just the okay. So it's not just the difficulty. Ecclesia has more dynamic bosses. Like there's more room for skill-based improvement rather than the bosses just kind of being random patterned. Like it's when they really nailed down that, like the telegraphing and just the boss design in general, compared to the other
very last one you
Castlevania
made.
games.
Yeah, Issue said you might, the crab. Oh god, I hated the crab.
See, but the crab was interesting because it lets you use that slingshot
Yes.
power to dodge the attacks.
But I didn't understand how to beat him at the end. And
I don't
hated
remember the
that
end
as
of
a
that
kid.
fight too much, but yeah, that fight is memorable because it is particularly hard. But it's not just that the game is difficult, but I think the difficulty is well executed. It's not unfair difficulty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, based on what you guys have said, I think I'll probably like Ecclesia.
Yeah. It's a good one. I do highly recommend that one.
Is it like... So you say it's more like Classicvania. I do like the Classicvania game.
No,
So-
it's a crest like.
I think it gets a little bit boring in the first half. Like it's very linear. Like the story has you chasing a person the entire game. But I think that the second half makes up for it.
He's pretty
Yeah.
fun.
See, this is what they were talking about with this game looking better than Symphony of the Night.
Yeah,
Who said that?
and I
It was
agree.
a article.
Oh
when the game
wow,
first
I
came
need to
out.
fight some people.
Also, am I in? Where am I?
You're in a
It's
villa.
like Resident Evil Mansion.
Yeah, I was about to say Resident Evil
Yes.
Mansion.
Oh, you went in this room.
Except
Smart.
this looks worse than the Resident Evil Mansion because it's not using pre-rendered backgrounds like the Resident Evil Mansion does. And yeah, I agree, Sarah Kerbon. I think that he's gonna have difficulties with the first half of the game where it is a little bit more drawn out than I would have liked. I think that maybe the reason why I dropped it to a 4 originally was that first half has a few levels that are just a little bit too long and boring hallway. Okay, he thinks the cross is going to work on you, huh? I like the music. Why am I expecting them to have a voice actor?
Because the other guy had a voice actor.
Did he? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
My specialty is crosses. To be honest, in the Castlevania universe, that would be my specialty too.
The crosses don't seem to be like that effective against
Hey.
vampires.
The cross is like the best sub weapon. What do you mean?
Wow.
Yeah, but is it because it's a cross, or is it because it's like this bladed shuriken that you're throwing at
It's the
things?
shuriken aspect, of course.
I mean, obviously being a cross gives it more power.
Also, it's not really a
Uh.
cross when you throw it. It's more like a plus because it's not. It doesn't have the longer end to it.
I can't believe I agree with Master on something with Castlevania.
What's that?
The cross is the superior subweapon. Unless
Oh,
it is
yeah.
Symphony of the Night, then you go with the Bible, because that's just OP.
But that has a cross on it.
That's true. There we go.
See, crosses make everything better in the Castlevania universe.
Yeah. I always hated that in Symphony of the Night, it turned into Grand Cross only, and it's like, but why? You're eating all my hearts.
The sub-weapons in Symphony of the Night were kind of a artifact, I think, of the old games. I think that they did interesting things with it in Harmony of Dissonance, and then I'm glad that they kind of dropped it with Aria and going forward, the sub-weapon
See, and
system.
I'm glad that it could still get the sub-weapons back. Like, Axe was still my main sub-weapon, quote-unquote. It was my main bullet soul in Aria
Oh,
and
sure.
Dawn. But no, I actually really like the sub-weapons in Symphony of the Night. Mainly with the Bible, because it was such a good sub-weapon in terms of how powerful it was.
I don't really hate the sub-weapons. It's just I think that the series was ready to move beyond them. I think that the one that I hated the sub-weapons in the most was Lament of Innocence, because it was such a grind to get those hearts from all the candles.
Yes, yeah.
What it really needed was a Metroid-style missile refill station where you just fill up on hearts. Just
I
to save
actually
you time.
liked it when they moved it to MP.
Yes,
Some
and,
games.
and that's what Aria started, was the MP system.
Yeah. Issue did a couple. Portrait brought them back pretty well, I agree. Portrait of Ruin had the sub-weapons in a very nice way with Jonathan, in my opinion.
Yeah, it
This was
was
mainly Jonathan.
it was
wasn't it?
MP in
Who
that
used the
game
sub-weapons?
though. Was
Yes.
right,
Yep.
right. I guess it's the heart system that I'm criticizing, not the sub-weapons themselves.
Yeah. Which MP didn't really have too much of a use in Symphony of the Night, other than your spells, but
Sure.
most people don't use spells much. Like, I just learned them, and then I called it good.
I use Dark Metamorphosis all the time because I play like a reckless crazy man. So I'm like, where's the bloody guys? I need some meat bags.
Bloody zombies.
Yeah, those guys were the ones that helped me sustain my
Your vampiric bloodlust.
my vampiric bloodlust and my need for not using potions. This
Oh, yeah,
mansion
we were talking about consumables the other day. How like people tend to overly conserve them.
Yeah. I don't think unless it's a certain boss that I know I can waste them on, I never use, like, half of the stuff, at least in Symphony of the Night. In terms of, like, my pentagrams, never used those. Never used, like, the karma coins. I never used the Power of Sire. I never used any of those.
Oh yeah, and they're also kind of awkward to use in Symphony just because you have to equip them and then push the button. Then
Yeah.
they needed like a loadout button like they had in Dawn of Sorrow.
Yeah. Oh, it's him!
So I'm
Best character in the game.
gonna say I really like this mansion place. It actually feels like a place.
It does feel like a place.
It feels like an empty place, but it feels less empty than Lament of Innocence, which is a plus.
Master, I'm gonna give you a pro tip. Spend over, I think it's 3,000 gold or 30,000. Let me look it up.
Well, there's a big difference between those.
I know.
Just spend all your
One
money.
second. Let me just double check to make sure I have the correct number.
I am not an enemy. My role is to provide useful items. Oh, finally you get your shop, huh? Oh man.
30,000.
Okay, that makes sense.
Spend 30,000. It's a pro gamer move. Trust me.
He looks like the
You and your
Riddler.
spoiler.
It's not a spoiler. It's a pro tip. It's not a spoiler.
What's the difference?
Yeah, it is 30k issue. You'll see. You'll see the difference. Just trust me and do it. You'll be a true gamer if you do it.
I don't
Wait.
know if I have that much money.
No, he's gonna be around for a while. You got time. I'm not evil issue. I don't know what you're talking about.
Is this your Lovecraft contract?
He's the
what the?
shopkeep.
Oh, the shopkeep uses a scroll. Okay. He doesn't have 30,000 gold.
Not yet. Money is so easy to come by in this game.
I played a few Metroidvania games where you get money, but you don't get to spend it until like 3 hours into the game. It's crazy. It drives me crazy too because I'm like, I have all this money, I don't know what to do with it. I feel like if you're going to have a system of like currency or whatever, you need to provide opportunities to reward the player for collecting it earlier. Early
The
on.
worst
I
is
think.
when it's one of those games where you can lose money on death
Yeah,
and you haven't found the shopkeeper yet. So
right.
you just, I guess I'm losing all this money and have no way to stop it.
Yeah.
So, Castlevania Chronicles 2. I thought I had found all the shops because I'd been to all of the towns, and so I started just spending all my money on like potions and stuff. And then I found like a secret shop, and I'm like, oh no! And it had like really cool items that I couldn't afford because I'd wasted my money.
Money sinks.
Yeah.
Get you every time.
For the most part, I didn't really use potions in that game until like the very last like eighth of the game, when I thought that I had already spent all the money that I needed to.
I need
Didn't
to
you-
play that one yet.
Didn't you
I
say
think I
that game
tried-
was difficult though?
It is very difficult.
So sounds like you were also having the consumable problem where the game was difficult and you weren't using your potions still.
I definitely used them on the final boss, and I still consider it one of the hardest final bosses. Maybe not. Might be in my top 10. Depends on what else shoves it out. It could be shoved out by other things, but it's pretty high up there as far as hard final bosses go. I need to play Hollow Knight again because the secret final boss was like my standard for hard final bosses for a while.
You have entered the castle of hell.
Yeah, man, where's your voice acting skills? You criticize mine and then you don't show off your own?
You want me to? I'll be the villager.
Do it.
If you value your life, you will flee this place now.
Dot, 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 dot.
Oh no.
I like how long he stares in the mirror before he looks.
It's the best combat role I've ever seen.
Master. Where's your voice acting?
He's no longer a villager anymore.
Huh.
Master has one role.
What do the power
Wow,
ups
that
do?
whip has range.
Yeah.
I like how the vampire was just carrying 500 gold on him.
Well,
Oh,
he
this
was
is
a
the right
villager
one.
before. He had to buy food.
The scary mirror. If I were a vampire, I would do that to all my mirrors. Like, what a weird scene. The villager's just like, you better go, you better leave. Like, why didn't he just turn into a vampire right away if that was his plan all along?
Or attack him while he's staring in the mirror.
Like, it didn't seem like the villager was trying. Well, the mirror just fixed itself. That's creepy. It didn't seem like he had.
Scary mirror.
It didn't seem like the villager had like any plan to trick you or anything like that. He wasn't like trying to lead you somewhere. He just kind of came in and started yelling at you.
Well, he was trying to warn you about the scary vampires and demons, and Master just didn't listen, so he had to take matters into his own hand to show you the light, obviously.
So it seems like everywhere I can go is locked. Did something open up because of that cutscene?
I think so.
Oh, good. Don't you just
So
love event
just
gates?
just go everywhere in the entire game and figure out what changed.
Oh,
See-
so it's like La Milano, easy.
Yes.
So you're playing this when you could play point and click and do the same exact thing, but with better textures.
That depends on the point and click.
Nancy Drew, of course. With those beautiful 90s Uncanny Valley models.
Okay, so everybody wants the 1999 Castlevania because they've hyped it up. To be honest, because I know what happens after that, I'm not as interested in it because it's like I know how it ends, if that makes sense.
Also, because it's like a war, it doesn't seem like it would follow the same type of storyline as a normal Castlevania. Because
They
there
should
would
make
be
a
way
movie
more
out of it.
people.
They could absolutely make a really cool game out of that idea, especially the way Atsuro explained it. So
They could do Castlevania Warriors.
There is actually a fan game trying to be made. I don't know if it's still in the works, but it's called Umbra of Shadow, or Umbra of Sorrow. Because Umbra, the Eclipse, and then Sorrow, obviously naming because of the Aria or the Sorrow games.
right.
But they had music from quite a few people, and they had artwork from decent people. But I don't know if they're still making it.
This was the 1999 fan game, you said?
Yeah, Umbra of Shadow on the Castle or Umbra of Sorrow. Keep doing that. Castlevania Forms fandom wiki thing.
So I
So
kind
I
of
can
want.
inspect the bed but not talk to the guy sleeping in it? Okay.
What is with that dude anyway? He's just like.
He's
I mean,
sleeping.
you aren't there.
Don't wake him up. That's
It's
rude.
it's 11 o'clock at night or so. I mean, what do you expect?
Oh, that's right. You can use the cards to make it daytime so you can talk to him.
Oh, you're right.
But what if
Okay.
you need the card later?
Issue said it's still being developed, which that is good to hear because I would like that game.
Those
so
fan
much.
games do take a long time. I am happy that Konami didn't crack down on Lakar Chronicles 2 like they did the first game.
I think Konami realizes it doesn't matter anymore.
I guess.
It's not like they're competing with them.
Although they are opening up
Yeah.
their games division again, so who knows what's going to happen there.
They better
Nothing.
just outsource Castlevania. I don't care, please, for the love of God.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be a mobile game.
Okay, so real
Yeah.
quick.
Well, no, I already know about the mobile game. That's being
Wait, there is
outsourced
one?
to a
I was
Chinese
just making
company.
a joke.
So what if they outsource Castlevania to, say, the people who made Extreme Beach Volleyball?
Oh my god.
Other,
Where did that come
Castlevania
up? What
Other
was the
C.
game they made?
That's a reference to Other M.
The
Oh,
Other
right.
C. So that's a question I'd like to ask. If Castlevania was given to a current team that is making games, who would be the best team to take it?
Inti creates,
You think Inti creates?
in my opinion, for a more pixelized, maybe Symphony of the Night style Metroidvania, I think they would be up to the task, honestly.
So far I have not found an Inti Creates Metroidvania that I have fallen in love with, but I could be proven wrong on that. They did a great job, I think, with the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 1. I heard that Curse of the Moon 2 wasn't as good. I
liked it.
The thing is, Intercreates is pretty much about more linear games.
Like, I think they're fantastic at linear games, but I played Mega Man ZX and I'm like, oh my gosh, what have they done? Advent's better so far from what I played, but Blaster Master 01, the first one, it was fine. It was an improvement on the original. but it felt maybe a little easy, I guess. I haven't played the sequel yet, and Phaserman says that one's a lot better.
So where am I supposed to be going?
But at this point, I'm not
Well, there's-
sure.
Are you asking for a guide, Master?
Do you need help? Because you know, Ishtar actually
You've
told
been
you a hint.
spoiling things all stream.
I'm sorry. I
And you
did say
complained.
spoiler alert. You
You-
could have muted yourself.
You
for
say
2
it, Master,
seconds.
like you're planning on continuing this after the stream's over. Just silence.
There's 2 options.
So
Oh, there
going
you
back
go.
to the studios that could make Castlevania, maybe like Way Forward also sometimes does stuff, like the team that did the Shantae games.
They actually worked on Bloodstain as well, or they helped work on Bloodstain.
Yeah.
So Way Forward might not be bad. Indie Crates, though, I'm not saying that they would do a bad job on that. I think that they're great. They have some of my favorite games of all time. They haven't proved themselves as Metroidvania makers to me yet. Way Forward, on the other hand, I think does a pretty good job. They made Mummy Demaster, which I thought was pretty good. It felt kind of Castlevania-like. If you made a Castlevania game that had guns, that would be how I would imagine it.
So my description of Mummy Demastered is they took all the things that were bad about Metroid and all the things that are bad about Castlevania, and they made a game out of that.
I like Mummy Demastered.
I mean, they're pretty good games to like take the worst stuff from, but it's like it had like Metroid like combat, and then Castlevania level design where it was like flat and boring, and then like so apparently the death system is really bad, but I beat the game without dying once, so I wasn't even aware of that.
I actually thought the death system was really interesting, but I don't know. I thought they did a pretty good job with the bosses and things of that sort in Mummy Demastered. I think it's very, very solid game. What if Team Cherry made a Castlevania game?
Well, then they couldn't be. This is an opportunity cost problem. If they're making Castlevania, they can't be making Silk Song.
Don't take
That's
them away
fine
from
with
Hollow
me.
Knight.
That's more than fine with me. Let's do it.
Or how about Moon Studio, the Ori people? What if they made a Castlevania game?
No.
Oh god.
No, you don't think
Imagine
so?
how much worse it would be than Bloodstain. But how much
It would-
budget they'd spend on the graphics.
It would be like Portrait,
See, I didn't mind Portrait, okay?
but Portrait is probably the closest to being like Ori than any of the other Castlevanias, because it's got the like dungeon aspect.
I'm just like imagining Show with like Shanoa with like white glowy hair and like waking up in bed and rolling over and finding like this smiling glowing orb next to her. They have the AM2R guy, Moon Studios does, so, and he's proven himself to be very good at level design. Although that's Metroid level design, not necessarily Castlevania level design.
Yeah, it's Metroid level design and also not Metroidvania level design. Metroid 2 is very linear.
Yeah, it is.
So, Master, you'll be happy to say that Sphere Kurban says that Ori is bad and they do not want Moon Studios taking it over.
This makes me happy.
So,
Your intuition is wrong, Vincent. Dang.
I'm gonna
Dang.
throw everything away that I said about Metroidvania level design and Inti Creates. I'm gonna say that the guys who made Devil May Cry should take Castlevania.
Oh my god. Think of how much edgier it'll get. It'll get to Lords of Shadow edginess with Satan's campiness.
That's what I'm
really
saying,
want
though.
that.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is that Devil May Cry has the JoJo camp, and they could totally pull off campy Castlevania in the best way possible. The only thing they don't have is the Metroidvania part, but I'm willing to sacrifice that to get a Castlevania that has the camp that I want.
I
What
think
if you just took the
Castlevania.
Resident Evil people instead?
Oh no.
Which Resident Evil people, though? Because there was like the 5 and 6 people that didn't do as well, in my opinion.
We want the ones from 1.
Oh, the original one.
Yeah. That was like peak camp.
Oh my god.
Curse of Darkness 2
I
would be
personally
fun.
think that the series should go in the direction of the anime in terms of the tone. Minus the ending of Season 3. Season 3 can have choice words for Season 3 ending.
Okay,
The rest of it's great.
I'm gonna take what Sphere Kurobon said, and Curse of Darkness 0, where you remake Castlevania 3 as a 3D, game with like Devil May Cry style mechanics or whatever, to get the Devil May Cry team to do it, and then you still get to do the familiar thing with a side story with the characters from Curse of Darkness as like a prequel type thing to their story.
Question: do you still get to play as Grant?
Who's Grant?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Exactly.
All of them. I think it's funny that Grant always gets forgotten.
He's always shafted. He's always forgotten in every single piece of media.
He is.
He only makes a cameo in the Castlevania 3 Pachi Slot games. He makes a cameo as a sprite. Everyone else has fully fledged 3D models.
He was in the Symphony of the Night Boss, wasn't he?
Huh?
He was in that Symphony of the Night Boss, wasn't he?
He was, thankfully. He was
Yeah.
part of the boss in that.
Grant.
They don't have him in the anime at all yet, and he's like, well, I don't like his last name, so I don't really want him in the anime. It's like, what?
Maybe that pirate captain was actually Grant. Did they
No,
ever say his
he's
name?
the pirate of the roads or whatever is said to be Grant for now, so I hope so. Okay, Ishu, you just said Grant is lame. What did you just say? You really want-
He could climb on
my God.
ceilings.
He's
That is
the
also
best
something that would
character.
be pretty hard to do in a 3D game.
But I think if they were to remake any Castlevania 3 has my favorite setup of all of the games, story wise and etc. I think that was a great choice for the Netflix series. I think it would be cool if they remade Castlevania 3, and I thought it was really cool that Curse of Darkness was sort of a sequel to Castlevania 3, and then like had a continuation of what is the character's name in Curse of Darkness?
Hector?
Hector, yeah. And like include Hector as part of that story and let you play as Hector. Would be amazing.
Who's
I think.
there?
Oh no, it's Magnus.
Spoilers.
He's gonna literally. Oh, Malice.
Malice.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Magnus is the guy from the Castlevania Symphony of the Night sequel Japanese radio drama.
It's not a spoiler if you're wrong, right?
No, that's right. It's not a spoiler if you're wrong.
I love it when it's like Malice, my name is Malice.
Who names their kid that?
Oh, you guys have no idea.
Sounds like a vampire name.
Ash, stop it. Ugh. I
Like,
apologize
Draxler
for
would
my
probably
cat.
name his son Malice.
I've had that same cat toy. That's hilarious. For some reason, those cats love that
Master,
toy.
what you said, what you just said.
Yes, Hector would be a villain in Castlevania 3, and so yeah, doing a dark side. Oh man, that's an idea that's not utilized enough, I think.
It's almost like plot twists are predictable.
Wow, those dogs went down really easily. He just
do
kind of like
fully updated
casually.
one.
What the heck? They're going down
Being
faster than the
eaten.
skeletons. Except apparently you're like stuck behind the candle.
Oh.
Oh, that guy, yeah, that's right.
Oh, my
Oh,
God,
yeah,
you
by the way,
damn it.
this game takes place in 1950 or 1852, so I was in the ballpark range.
It
But
clearly
yeah, they have.
doesn't. This is like a theme park or something.
This is the most inconsistent Castlevania. What the heck?
I would say so. You can't beat this guy. You gotta run.
So he's the nemesis.
Good to know.
I'm only telling you that so you don't waste all your health.
He already did.
He has one left.
Oh my God, that child is fast. Did you see them just?
Run away.
Did it actually do a blur effect?
We'll have to look at the stream later. Or the video later.
I think I know what I'm
Just
going to use for my
assume they went this
screenshot
way.
for this episode.
Oh, what? I can't crawl.
No,
Why
you
can't Richter
You
crawl?
just slid.
It's
It's
Reinhardt.
not Richter, it's Reinhardt.
This is a joke.
Your R name's Reinhardt.
Oh,
All right, so who's the coolest Belmont?
Julius,
Yeah, probably
hands
Julius.
down.
Probably Julius. Besides Julius, who is the coolest Belmont?
Richter after that. He literally owned Dracula's castle for like probably 2 years or so before, Alucard rudely came in and interrupted his badass monarch.
He was the lord of the
monarch.
castle?
He says he's the lord of this castle.
I need to play Richter's game. I actually have not played, was it Dracula X, the one that came before Symphony of the Night? Or Rondo of
Akamandra,
Blood?
Dracula X, or Rondo of Blood, depending on the version.
Yeah.
Do not play the SNES version. I will cry if you do.
I should probably just go
Please.
get the PSP version and play it on that.
The original's better, honestly. I would get the PS4 version if you got a PS4, the Xbox, whatever it is. The
That's-
Requiem.
Sphere Turbine has a Belmont tier list. I actually really like Trevor. But like I said,
Justy?
Is that because of Mirror of Fate?
huh? No,
Is that because of Mirror of Fate?
not that Trevor. That's a different Trevor.
Same Trevor.
No.
Trevor is up there, though. I hate how they made him I don't know how to pronounce it, Bishonen. And
Oh, and Curse of Darkness and
this
Yeah.
is
so
really
forth.
terrible.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, like I said, I really like what they. So from what I've seen of the Castlevania Netflix series, I have my issues with it, but I really like that they chose to go with Trevor's story because I think Trevor's such a great Belmont.
I'm glad they started technically, quote unquote, at the beginning.
Yeah,
Because before Lament of Innocence, that was the beginning.
yeah.
Well, and if you discount Legends, but we don't talk about Legends because it's not technically canon anymore.
Is there like a sound cue for the child that my volume is just too low to hear?
He shouts at you.
Okay.
I thought that Trevor
like
showing
this
up in
way.
Curse of Darkness was great. We're talking more about his design.
Yeah, I love Trevor. I love Trevor's character. He's probably my third favorite Belmont. He's pretty much tied with Richter. But yeah, no, his design, I did not like it that much. It's not terrible. Don't get me wrong, it's not the worst. But
Okay, so what's the worst?
it could have been better. The worst?
Yeah.
The worst design, I think, is Simon's design in Castlevania 2. Actually, no, I take that back. All of the designs from Castlevania Judgment are the worst. Minus, I did like Shanoa's. Shanoa's design was pretty good. Cornell's was really cool. Alucard's wasn't the worst. But Death, Grant's, everyone else just disgusting. Simon is just gross. Trevor is not terrible, but he's still just bad looking enough. I played through most of Judgment too, but I hate it.
Okay, let me get this straight, Master. Did you just run in circles to try and get an event just now?
Yeah, it worked.
How did you know that?
Because I did that earlier, but then I hadn't saved because the only save is literally outside of the manor, so
Is he the guy who's in the bed?
yeah.
He
woke
is?
up.
But why?
Okay, no,
made it
I
daytime.
agree. Christopher Belmont looks terrible. Oh, are you talking about the comic version 2 issue? The one where he's like blonde and just really, really bad looking?
See, this is where I'm really ignorant is with the comics and it's the external stuff.
They had a little
was-
small prequel comic. I believe that was released alongside with Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, wasn't Christopher the one in the Game Boy games?
Yep, The Castlevania Adventure if you're Drontron. Everyone else, Castlevania The Adventure.
The Castlevania Adventure. He was drunk. You gotta gotta cut him some
Hey,
slack.
it was a great video though.
I like the implication that it's like the only Castlevania adventure.
It's the only one. This is the only game in the series. If you play anything else, Konami's gonna sue him. It's not canon, obviously.
That's the other game that people use as the worst Castlevania in the series candidate.
Yeah.
I like the ideas in
Simon's
it.
Quest. Yeah, they're just. I don't like the Game Boy ones, and I will say it. And I love the music. Don't get me wrong. The music in those Castlevania games for the Game Boys are amazing. They're very great composed tracks, and I believe they should be reused more often. But Battle of the Holy wasn't even reused in Adventure Rebirth, and that angers me because they made it. They just didn't use it. And I want to cry because they're like, oh no, we're gonna use the Bloodlines OST, and I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Castlevania the Adventure had a lot of really interesting level design ideas that I really wish weren't so horribly executed, but then Castlevania 2, what is it called? Simon's Revenge or whatever? What is that?
Which one? Belmont's Revenge?
Belmont's Revenge,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, the Castlevania 2 on the Game Boy basically took all of the same ideas that Castlevania the Adventure had and then just did them better, so you can kind of ignore Castlevania the Adventure.
Yeah. Also, Issue posted a picture in streaming of Christopher Belmont. Oh, I hate it. I hate it.
Oh, man.
Look at that. It's so bad.
I need to flash that.
That's Mega Man 1 box art level of bad.
Stay there for just a second, Master, so I can remember where, when you're ducking behind the balcony here, I need to flash a picture of Christopher Belmont. For anybody watching this on YouTube.
Oh.
Okay, I'll see if I remember to do that when I actually put this in editing.
Thanks, Issue. I hate it.
Belmont's Revenge, I like Belmont's Revenge. I thought it was pretty good. The Dracula in that
Yeah,
game is
yeah.
really difficult. But that's standard for Dracula. So let's talk about the best Castlevania of them all, Castlevania 4 on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, you had to bring that up. Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it. I just thought
Yeah.
it was I just thought it was funny.
Aaron of Game Grumps rant on why that game's bad is literally my thoughts on it.
I actually have not
And
heard
plus,
his
the
rant.
music isn't that good.
Are you talking about his
music-
sequelitis rant, or are you talking
Yeah,
about...
the sequelitis. Yep.
Isn't that Phaserman's favorite Castlevania, though?
Yes.
He doesn't say it's
And he's wrong.
bad. He just says that it's, well, in his words, an ungraceful sequel in the sense that it ruined the sub-weapons aspect of the game.
It did.
But
Which, thankfully, Castlevania Bloodlines brought back in a decent way. Then again, I always play as Lucard and stab everything with my spear. Because
Yeah, I was about to
spear's
say.
OP.
Lucard is just better.
It really is. Like, okay, it's cool that John can, like, swing from ceilings, but, you know, I can just pole vault my way up through the levels.
Sure.
Which,
John-
leaning Tower of Pisa levels, he's the best for.
John, for some reason, feels very weird to me. I think it's that his whip is just not as long as the other Belmont whips or something. I'm not sure what it is about him. Or the fact that he's so bulky, like he's like this walking bowl, that makes him feel odd to me. Lucard feels more natural within the context of the game to me.
Also, no, Bloodlines is not a bad game. I will agree. The continuation system is absolute trash. And if it was remade today, as long as it didn't have that, I would still consider it one of the best Classicvanias.
Well, you
But
can
that
always use save
continuation
states.
system just is terrible. Yeah, save states, honestly.
Right. Save states.
Save states.
I need to
Anytime.
turn up my in-game volume so I can actually hear this dude yelling at me.
Wait, does he
This
actually
is
talk? Oh.
kind of painful.
I'm guessing this isn't skippable. Oh, it is. Well, this game did at least one thing right.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of games get wrong, so...
Oh yeah, Castlevania Chronicles. Don't get me started on Chronicles issue. I hate it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, in the remade version for the PlayStation 1, your whip sounds like a gun. Like, every time you crack your whip, it sounds like a gunshot, and I hate it. And then they
So
have
you have a gun
techno
whip.
pop.
It's like a gun sword, but it's a gun whip.
Oh my gosh.
Gun whip. someone make it quick.
That was such a divisive thing when Final Fantasy VIII was announced, the gunblade. Like, so many people were like, oh, it's the coolest thing ever. And other people were like, that is so dumb. It's going to break your wrist if you swing it that way. Why is this in the game? But now that you said it, why haven't they done a gun whip?
I know. Well, they pretty much did with that sound, and God.
So where do you put the gun? Is it like on the end of the whip, like you crack the whip and then like when you crack it, it pulls the trigger?
I feel like I've seen a gun whip before. No, laser whips, where you swing it and then like when you crack it, it shoots a laser. Is what I've seen
That's
before.
Castlevania the Adventure right there. Just saying. And Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance.
So is the strategy just to keep jumping so that the dogs can't attack me?
Yes.
That'll work.
Most 3D
This is
games, jumping is the neutral strategy. Like, you do that, and you're usually pretty safe while you try and figure out what you're actually supposed to do.
I just got grappled like out of the air from that dog. I
Like,
think.
even Devil May Cry, jumping was the way to kind of get an idea of what the enemies were going to try on you before you actually engage them.
Which is kind of the opposite of how most fighting games are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've made a terrible mistake.
Harmony of Dissonance is Master's favorite game. Okay, back to Chronicles quick. Issue, I'm gonna tell you why I don't like Chronicles. I think the level designs are decent, but the remaster the music ruins it for me. And I'm a huge fan of music.
You have to find
Playing
Malice
a
for...
Castlevania game. And they
I'd like
turned
to
everything...
abandon the child. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure he'll be okay.
Yeah,
He's a vampire. He'll
You
definitely
must-
be okay.
You must
He's got his
gather your party
violin.
before venturing forth.
Oh, is he the violin character?
Yep.
All right, well, you got to save him at least to get his violin.
Yeah.
That's true.
But no, Chronicles
What's
music
happening?
takes...
the
I
heck?
heard the
Castlevania
door
music-
animation, then I got grappled. It was weird. My hand was just like reaching out to the door.
No,
I
this
don't know
game
where
is
the
buggy,
kid
man.
went.
You're a terrible babysitter.
He ran away. What am I supposed to do?
Whip him
I mean,
by
when
the
you're
ankle
when
and
you're
bring him back.
babysitting, yeah. If the kid runs away while you're babysitting, you still gotta find the kid.
You have a whip. Literally just grab his ankle. Boom, problem solved.
Okay, so I know he goes under there at some point.
Did he already do that?
Yeah, issue. The original versions of the songs didn't turn them into techno pop goth utter trash of songs.
So is there like a better strategy for this part?
Like I could see maybe you like get the holy water and then like you throw it on the ground and then the dogs run through it and it stops them.
I haven't heard the guy yell at me in a while.
Definitive tier list. Wait, issue, who's your D tier for your Belmont list? Also, Justice should not be that high. Justice should be down in the C or D tier as well.
So I'm one of the few people that I've talked to that likes Harmony of Dissonance.
See, and that's where your opinion's wrong.
I like dashing around. It was fun to get there was the book, and I think it was the white color, or what, was it colors that you got that upgraded your sub weapons in that game? I don't remember.
It was the stones you had, I believe, for your whip.
White stones or something like that, or whatever. One of them gave you
They
like
were different color. There was like fire, there was wind. I do agree that was fun,
yeah.
but like I said, I'm a huge fan of music, and Harmony of Dissonance music
Oh.
did not deliver.
I've heard really like divergent opinions on that. Some people really like the music in that game.
If you take it to be chiptune music, it's really not that bad.
Sure.
But when comparing it to Aria of Sorrow, it's like, but that music's so good.
Just learned that I can hit a numpad plus and minus to turn up or down volume in RetroArch. I did that by accident.
It actually shows up on the stream.
Yeah.
Wait, I missed what happened. I'm not allowed to go through there. What?
Okay.
No, you just rescued him, so you can go back the way you came.
I like that the
Okay.
dogs and the chainsaw dude. Okay, I can hear them off in the distance. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't
Wait.
want. I don't want them to be around. Why can't
See,
I
in
just
Legacy-
escape with Malice?
In Legacy of Darkness, this had the gun shooting motorcycle skeletons.
what? There's a key and a candle?
It's probably
Yes.
just for the store.
I like how you're just constantly jumping now because that's how you move in this game.
I
I
jump.
mean, I was already doing that earlier.
I jump in every game that I'm in all the time. Except Metroid. Metroid, it's not advantageous to jump.
Oop.
Okay, so I have that green key now. I guess I go to the storeroom.
They always had the antechamber. Like this design for the first room of the castle, it's always this 2-story antechamber.
I blame Resident Evil 2.
Oh, it's Resident Evil 1, but yeah, Resident Evil 2 has the same thing.
I haven't played Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, it's like, is that really necessary in a police station?
Well, Resident Evil 2, they tried to... Okay, so Resident Evil 1, it was that the chief of police was crazy, and so he made the police station that way. Resident Evil 2 Remake, they made the excuse that the police station was... it was built in place of what was originally a museum. And so a lot of the weirdness of the police station is because the museum had art displays that created the weirdness. Which is a good enough excuse, I guess.
Yeah.
Good enough. I wonder what that was, by the way.
What?
The disc. I'm getting like Discord noises as I'm playing.
Someone joined the stream, and so I let them know I'm streaming that we're doing a stream.
Oh. I didn't hear any Discord noises. So the game that I would like to see, actually like the new Castlevania game that I would like to see is a sequel to Dawn of Sorrow, because I feel like Dawn of Sorrow was dissatisfying.
They have a sequel. It's a book.
Oh, is there a book for that? So how does that turn out?
Yeah. It doesn't follow Soma. Like Soma appears for like less than a page,
Honestly, that might not be the best. That might be the
then-
best way to do it.
and then they switch to a Curtis Lang, which is Julius's successor, and Michelle Dynasty, which is Grant's descendant. And yeah, that was the Olrox one, where they were fighting death and Olrox and stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought that was part of the 1999 story.
Nah, that's afterwards, which, I mean, it makes sense that Julius didn't have a kid since he lost his memory and stuff. But still weird. But at the same time, they don't have to fight Dracula anymore, so is the Belmont lineage really needed anymore?
Sure. Well, was the Belmont lineage needed at all to fight Dracula? They kind of prove that there are other options available with Order of Ecclesia.
Multiple options.
Sure.
We got Alucard all the time, we got the Lacards, we got the Morrises, we got the Alwins, yeah, we got Shinoa. We're good.
Right.
Maybe just have somebody show up with a gun. Like a real gun.
Someone call an ambulance, but not for me.
So is Dracula's kid just like chilling about and I have to go talk to him somewhere?
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, Dawn of Sorrow was already a filler sequel. Like, I think that you could continue from Dawn of Sorrow and the direction, or I'm sorry, from Aria of Sorrow, and the direction that Dawn of Sorrow wasn't a bad idea. Even the villain wasn't necessarily a bad idea. I just didn't feel like he was developed well enough, and the final boss was a little bit lame. I think it would have been a better final boss if it was the actual villain and not just some demon that came about because of the villain. But I don't know. I feel like that there's more to Soma that could have been explored. That it would be neat to explore that in a sequel, and possibly by making Soma a secondary character, that might be a good way to go about it. I think it would be neat.
Yeah. If they did continue, how would they address the issue of the regional differences, in my opinion? Like, because in Japan, Soma is a resident of Japan, always has been,
Sure.
always will be. Well, in the American, it's like, oh no, he's visiting. Well, how is he lifelong friends with Mino then? What?
I think they should just retcon it so that it's the original Japanese version and just pretend it's always been that way instead of trying to, or, re-release Dawn of Sorrow and Aria of Sorrow with a different localization alongside the third game, whether it's a remake or just a re-release with a different localization and the luck glitch fixed.
Maybe swap around the portraits and Don.
I would do that too, personally. Get rid of the anime.
Oh god.
Since that's no longer necessary.
Give us back. I forgot her name.
The amazing
Who's the
Castlevania
original
artist. That's her name.
I love her artwork.
No, she does a great job. And it looks great in Aria. It would have been really cool to see that in
it
the.
works so well.
We actually did get to see it with Order of Ecclesia. And it looks great. I should have kept her.
Sadly, that was the last time we ever had a Metroidvania for Castlevania. Well, that
Officially,
wasn't even
yeah.
a Metroidvania. Last Igavania.
Officially, yes.
Ayami Kojima. Thank you. Issue. Thank you. That person.
She had to have the last name Kojima so that we can be confused, just like we are with Miyazaki between Studio Ghibli and Dark Souls.
Yeah, they were named that way just to confuse us.
I feel like this is Master's version of collecting grape leaves at this point.
They were olives. The olive leaves were just health ups. The regular olives were the money.
That's right.
But obviously he should be enjoying this because it's like La Milana.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really paying attention when the child was talking to me, so I probably just missed something obvious.
It seems like the time system in this game causes issues.
But it's a mechanism. Don't you like the cool, fancy mechanism brought to you on the Nintendo 64? Coming to a store near you in 19 whatever year this game came out, or this console came out. I don't even know.
Ayami didn't do Order of Ecclesia?
Yeah, who did do Ecclesia?
I thought it was the same
Ash,
person.
no. My
I
sock
regret
is all-
coming back here.
Oh, the dogs.
What? Why is he still out here? He just kind of hangs out in the garden and is like, I'm just going to use my chainsaw on anybody that comes out here.
He's probably just like trimming shrubs.
Get away.
Why
you're-
else would he have the chainsaw?
you're
So do I need to ever go back in there?
You did have to in Legacy of Darkness, but I don't know in this one. Ash, could you not?
Okay.
I'm
Like,
doing my
'cause-
thing.
I don't want to go back there, but I mean, if I have to, maybe I should. But I don't know if there's something in there I need to do right now, or if I need to just talk to somebody at the right time of day.
Yeah, you only have so many cards, so you can't just like throw
Right, I
them
don't
around
have any
willy-nilly.
day cards. I'll just go die to the
That's
gardener.
really...
Oh, Masasaki Hiroka?
That's really
And he did
interesting.
Dawn and Portrait of Ruin. Interesting.
what's most interesting about that is the fact that Order of Ecclesia looks more traditional towards the Castlevania series rather than being anime. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, even with the same artist, if you give them a different art direction, then they'll
Sure.
give you a different product.
Yeah, it was a bad decision, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe it was a good decision. Like, the whole reason why they did it was because they thought it would sell the game more, and maybe it sold more because of the anime. I don't know.
So I didn't realize I can just sword the dogs when they're biting me.
Heh.
So can the enemies just not get me now? I guess.
It doesn't seem like they can. They're kind of running around like, what do we do? Where do we go? So, what is
Dude's
everybody's...
fast.
What is Caldras' favorite Castlevania? I don't think we've asked you yet, Caldras.
I think Dawn of Sorrow. Like I think Arya's might be like objectively better, but I played. Actually, I don't remember which one I played first, but I do prefer Dawn a little. Like I enjoyed Dawn a little bit more than Arya.
Dawn has some upgrades that are very good, I think, from a mechanics perspective.
Really? The game that uses DS gimmicks?
Okay.
That is a very, very small part of it.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was talking more about the fact that you could have two weapon sets and then just push a button to switch between them.
What do you mean it's a small part of the game? You literally have to do it to kill bosses.
Yeah, so like 1% of the time you're playing, maybe, is spent doing that.
Also, you don't have to do it in the real mode, which is the Julius mode. But no, I like.
So, you're going.
I like that you could switch between the two move sets. Having the extra two buttons was really helpful, I think, compared to the DS or the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. Like the sigil stuff is definitely a mark against the game. Is the main reason why I like kind of debate whether Arya is the better game.
I don't think that's part of my debate on it. I just kind of ignore those. Sphere Kuribon says that they will die on this hill, that those are fun mechanics.
I didn't mind them that much once I knew how to do them.
When I was a kid, I thought they were fun. They didn't bother me so much.
Yeah, it's not as fun on an emulator.
Well, I can imagine that.
Well, then
Obviously, that's
don't
not
be
the ideal
a
experience.
don't
But if
be
you're
a
playing on a-
yoker and
you're
just
playing-
go buy a DS in the game, or I'll lend you mine. How about that?
Or
So-
you can just put the mod on that gets rid of them.
Yeah, just axe them.
Yeah.
So do you consider that to be do you consider mods to the existence of a mod that makes a game better? Does that actually make the game deserve a higher rating?
I think it depends on how big the quality of life jump is.
So it depends on whether you think a rating is like how deserving a game is, or how much you would recommend the game to somebody. Like if it's based on how much you would recommend somebody, then you should account for any mods that they could easily install for it. If it's based on deserving, then you wouldn't include those.
So I had a friend who said that Skyrim is a terrible game, except for the mods. But I've never found a mod that made Skyrim stop being Skyrim. So, personally, but
Yeah, I mean, unless you get
man.
the Thomas the Train engine
sure,
dragons and stuff.
that's
But
pure
it's still
novelty.
Skyrim.
Actually,
That's pure novelty,
So-
though. That's
So should we make a mod that turns Skyrim into a Metroidvania?
there actually is one that turns it into Curse of Darkness, and that's actually how I found out about the Castlevania games on
what?
the PlayStation 2 was through a Skyrim mod.
Huh?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta find this mod. That sounds interesting.
They use the Sigil Order stuff for Saint Germain.
Huh.
Is it better than the original?
It's
Prob-
really buggy, so I mean, it's debatable. It might be better now. I played it like in 2012, 2013. So it's probably a lot better now if they kept up with it, but they released it in chapters.
I remember when I was playing on the N64 for the first time, and I thought the metal effects were the coolest thing ever. I'm like, man, it's like real shiny.
It's like I'm really walking on metal.
I like how you're just like going to random places and kneeling, as if this is Simon's Quest.
I mean, it is just as bad, so.
Some people would say Simon's Quest is good.
I mean, it might have been good at the time because there weren't any like fully featured Metroidvanias really. Like there were a lot of like proto Metroidvanias on the NES, but I wouldn't say any of them has aged very well.
Yeah. Simon's Quest, like, obviously one of the bigger issues with that game is the localization and the people not giving hints that are useful.
I think you're bad and Dracula's good. Get out of here.
Hit your head on Deborah's cliff or whatever.
Yeah.
Is the hint for the red orb.
You now process Dracula's rib.
My bigger problem with Simon's Quest is that I don't really like the way the game plays in general. Sir Kurabon says that they like Castlevania Simon's Quest. And I think it's perfectly legitimate. I actually think it's probably a good proto La Mulana style game. I'd say that it has more in common with La Mulana than it does with other Metroidvania games.
I like how you can skip the bosses.
The main activity of throwing your holy water everywhere to find hidden platforms, don't really like that very much.
Is it that much worse than bombing everything?
No, it isn't. And the later Metroid games kind of avoid that with different mechanics, depending on which one you're looking at. Like the addition of the power bomb really kind of eliminated the need to bomb everything in general.
Yeah, and also just the Metroid games tend to have better, like, indicators of where you should be bombing.
Sure, like I think
Whereas Simon's Quest, every single block is identical.
sometimes that it gives you some kind of hint, but yeah, for the most part, every block is identical, and they literally copy area geometry. Like I think you see the same building. How many towns are there? 6 towns. 6 times 2, the 12 times that you have the same room, and every room has different invisible blocks that you can uncover. So it's pure trial and error, like how you would if you're trying to progress the game without any kind of guide.
So it is Proto La Mulana.
I think that the hints aspect and the riddle solving aspect is Proto La Mulana. So Sir Kurban is arguing that you don't have to use the holy water everywhere. That may be true if you know exactly what you're doing, but if you go into that game blind, that's where most people express their frustrations about it and call it a bad game, is based off of what it's like to go into it without just following a guide.
Master has turned the back jumping into the new back dashing for this game.
He's trying to go through the wall and do the Mario 64 thing.
Oh.
I think Master's just like slowly going mad as he's playing this game.
Has no idea where he's going. So any hints at Zero on where he needs to go next?
Master
Like
doesn't
I
need
said,
hints.
Legacy of Darkness is a little different. Have you gotten to the top of the fountain yet and gotten that stuff?
No, is that important?
It might be in this game. I mean, it was in the
It
other one.
looked
I'm
like
pretty
there was
sure.
a day card and some other random garbage up there.
Well, don't you need a day card?
It's already day. Why do I need a day card? I only need
If
a
it's
day to talk to the dude who sleeps, and he still gives me the same advice.
I think my main issue with Simon's Quest is the platforming, because some of those were like pixel perfect jumps you had to do, and I hated those ones.
Was that significantly different from like the first Castlevania?
Yes, incredibly different actually, completely different feel for how it worked in Simon's Quest 2 at least. Like in Castlevania 1, you didn't have to be perfect. I mean, if you wanted to speedrun, you would. But in general, no, you didn't have to be.
So Sphere Curb, I'm not talking about throwing holy water to check for holes. I'm talking about throwing holy water to uncover invisible walls and stuff. And that is definitely needed in a couple of parts. I know you need to do it in order to get to shops in certain towns and things. Although I don't know which shops are absolutely necessary to get an ending in that game. Are you just fast forwarding time at this point?
Yes.
So one of my
See if
favorite
it's time-based without wasting like 20 minutes.
one of my favorite Let's
Yeah,
Players.
so you don't even need the cards.
One of my favorite Let's Players did a forced blind run of. Oh my gosh, what the heck? How did you know to do that? Was it because Atsuro told you, or because you saw that?
No, I saw it go up earlier and I assumed it was
Ah.
time-based. Also, I told you, this is garbage.
Wait,
Jump
wait,
to the
you
very
haven't,
top
you haven't
and
gone to
see
the
if
very
there's
top
anything
yet.
up there.
Probably gonna die first.
One of my favorite Let's Players did a forced blind run of Simon's Quest recently, kind of pretending like he didn't know anything about the game and whether or not the game actually tells you. And he says there's only 2 instances where he felt like he needed a guide to know what was going on, which was actually not too bad. Yeah, Royal Mithril. But it does show off how often you have to use the holy water in order to get the clues you need.
Alright, yeah, this is not like Legacy of Darkness. Legacy of Darkness, I believe there is a key or like a shard of something up here that you needed to get. I think part of a crest. Oh.
So it's a crest like.
It is a crest like. Actually, technically, this is a classic Vania. With
I was about to
more
say,
open level design?
it seems like you have a little bit of a Simon's Quest type thing going on here.
Kinda, but you can never really go back. Once you're done with that level. You're done.
Sure. Well, technically, Royal Mithril couldn't have done the LP because he had played the game before. Going with somebody completely blind would have been a better thing, but Royal Mithril wouldn't have been able to do that himself. But his point was he wanted to show whether or not you needed a guide to get through the game, and I think that he did an okay job with that. Anyway, I don't hate Simon's Quest. I don't like feel angry at it or anything like that. I also didn't get it when I was a kid, so I don't have the opportunity or the same opportunity. It's the same reason why I don't hate Other M. I didn't get it when it came out, so I didn't get betrayed by it like some people did.
Yeah, it's very different if you can just like go look up online whatever information you're missing. Where that was not an option when Simon's Quest first came out.
Yeah. But here's the thing is a lot of people that grew up with Simon's Quest still think it's cool today. Like, or I guess the ones that actually played it and went through it.
That's probably a lot of nostalgia.
Sure. But, I mean, people figured it out back then, I guess, somehow.
I think Nintendo Power had a guide for it.
One of the issues with some of the information you get in that game is that they give you the wrong areas. But that's the localization problem that people talk about. And yes, one of the issues with Simon's Quest is it's the infamous first. Is it the first Angry Video Game Nerd episode?
I think it's one of them. Yeah.
So it created an anchoring effect that people base their opinions on now.
It's a pretty bad Castlevania, the game, though. Like, I played it, I beat it, with save states, of course, because I'm not going to torture myself without using save states. It was just bad.
I think it did some things interesting. Very.
Sorry, I just picked up roast chicken apparently.
Yeah, it's wall chicken.
Yeah, it's wall meat. What's
So
new?
you just interact with the wall and you pick it up, like you don't have to break. You don't have to break out the chicken.
It was
from
in
its
the
cage.
it was in the lion's mouth.
Yeah. Actually,
There's
I think
stuff
it probably
in the
was.
painting. There's just stuff in the walls, and I have to interact with it.
It was behind the painting.
But yeah, my bigger issues with Simon's Quest are there's the holy water aspect, but there's also the way that enemies just kind of haunt staircases, so you have to wait a long time or just take the damage. Something I didn't think about was using laurels, which is what Rome Mithril did when he was doing those parts. I'm like, why didn't I think about that when I was playing it? I would have collected so many laurels and that would have solved that problem. So that's probably a get good Professor Q situation there. But that was the thing that annoyed me the most when I was playing through it was just the enemy design, and the level design is kind of haphazard. I know all those mansions are supposed to be destroyed, and them being kind of wrecked is part of the theming.
But why are they wrecked with like illusionary walls?
Sure.
And all
Because
the
Dracula's servants and demons. Ooh.
Do you know what you needed in Simon's Quest? You needed Samus's X-ray goggles.
There we go.
Yeah,
I'm really looking. Oh,
He just bottled them.
So yeah, no. Knowing what I know now about the game, I should have used laurels more often. I think that would have helped me enjoy the game more. Especially since that game, you have to grind in it. That's the other thing I don't like, is I don't like grinding, period. And you kind of have to grind enemies to get hearts for specific things, but
yeah. I'm kind of waiting for the Transylvania Adventure, which is kind of like a remake / remaster of Simon's Quest, and it looks pretty good so far.
yeah, I'd love to see it remade.
It's
And it
got a
wouldn't
demo
need-
out.
It wouldn't need that many adjustments. Just like there's some very specific things that are really bad about the game. You just fix those things, and then it would be a fine game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that
No.
fixing the localization by itself would make it a lot better for what I think it's. I think its draw is that it's kind of like an adventure game with Castlevania trimmings, and I think that's
Yeah.
not a bad idea. That's what La Mulana is. So
No, this game's like a complete overhaul. Like, it's campy. It's actually up your alley. It's very campy. But you also have some of Richter's moves, which I greatly appreciated. So you can do the slide and the backflip.
oh yeah, nice.
But it has one mansion out. But it's sprite works really good, and it seems fun, and it feels like a Castlevania game when I play it. So I mean, yeah.
It's also the most interesting Castlevania game from a story perspective because, I mean, they say that Dracula comes back in the ending if you fail, but we all know that Dracula comes back anyway. So,
What's new?
right.
But you also die.
But
so.
sure, ultimately the story is about Simon trying to save himself instead of saving the world, which is not a story you get very often in a video game. Usually the hero is selfless and self-sacrificing and all that. But this is like after the story of the first game has finished, and now Simon is cursed, and he's doing everything he can to resolve the curse.
Yeah.
So, kind of a neat premise. Overall, I don't think it's a bad part of the Castlevania series.
It was
It's
a
not the
necessary
worst.
stepping stone.
That is one thing I will say about Castlevania. There isn't a Castlevania game that I just outright hate.
Chronicles.
What about this game?
I haven't played Chronicles. I haven't played this game either. There isn't a Castlevania that I played that I just outright hate.
Master, what are you doing, man?
Based on what I've seen in this game,
He's worshiping the bed.
I'm glad that I decided not to play it. Yeah, and anybody that says that Simon's Quest is the worst Castlevania needs to play this game.
Maybe this is a game that would be better if you used a guide.
I don't even think Angry Video Game Nerd would say that Simon's Quest is the worst Castlevania, which is ironic because he's kind of the one who set the expectation about Simon's Quest.
Actually, you know what the worst Castlevania game is?
Which one?
Harmony.
Order of Shadows for the phone.
Oh, I'm sure that any mobile game is gonna.
The pachinko machine, Castlevania pachinko machine.
What is that?
Nope, this one was actually a platformer.
No, I mean
And-
like that would probably be the
that
worst
one. What one was that called? I had it. I spoofed my phone to Canada just to get it, but I don't remember the name.
What was the tagline on that game? Erotic something, or what was it?
Huh?
Grimoire of Souls.
No, like the commercial for the pachinko machine had like this really weird tagline.
Yes, it
I'm trying to remember what it
like
was.
a really sexy vampire.
Right.
It's like very erotic, and it's like,
It says something
what are
erotic
you guys
something.
doing?
Like erotic violence or something like that. Like
Yeah, it was.
it's like, what have you done to Castlevania?
They're trying to get.
That's just what Castlevania is. Have you seen Alucard?
They're getting all the people that should be in horny jail and trying to get them into their Pachi slot casinos to simp over, the succubi and Sypha and probably Trevor and Alucard.
You were using that word in a nice way, right? So that I don't get my Twitch
Oh
account
yeah,
name.
yes, in the nicest way. They are not lesser people for their love of the succubi and Sypha and Trevor and Alucard.
There you go. That was a weird direction to take it.
And then you got Romancevania, which just keeps going.
Romancevania looks funny.
Gameplay.
Romancevania looks funny. I don't know how much it's going to play on the Metroidvania side of things, but my wife's
Don't
like,
worry, I'll stream it.
I want to play this with you. I'm like, okay. Or Daraz.
We're gonna need a video review of that.
That name
Daraz.
changed, I think.
Now that I'm doing video reviews, I have to like question every game that I play. Like, am I going to do a video review of this or not?
I think you should. Seems
So
like a
now that
very
I know that I can
family-friendly game.
Of Romancevania, maybe.
Now that I know I can just interact with everything, I just gotta spam the interact button. Like, how else would I know about Henry?
Lore Legacy of Darkness. That's how. Because you actually help Henry in Legacy of Darkness.
I have a feeling that it's a horrible night to have a curse. What? Moon card.
Ooh, can you ban someone from their own channel? I'd like to see us try.
Is there anything else that like raises up like that you've seen?
No.
Honestly, I haven't been paying that close attention, but I've been paying closer attention ever since you've been lost for the last
Oh.
45 minutes.
I think Issue knows where to go, so if you need help, you can just ask him.
I mean, that's not really the point of this.
The point is to be as miserable as possible.
So this is why Master hates Castlevania, because he tortures himself with it.
So next week, by the way, everyone, is our break week where we all play together on the our Metroidvania Discord. So if you want to join in, you are invited.
What's the game?
I think we're going to do Mega Man 8-Bit
Oh, yeah.
Deathmatch, right?
Yeah, 8-bit deathmatch.
I think that'll be fun.
So I can put all my terrible platforming skills to the test.
That's a game that my friend has been trying to get me to play for ages, and for some reason I've never played it. So once again, I'm going to be going into the game completely new to the experience and probably not do very well, which is always a horrible thing considering I'm the POV when I'm streaming it.
You're
That was
fine.
47 backdashes in a row.
You counted?
Yes.
Okay, so let's think about this for a second. You just let the boy go, and you're allowed
Can't
to go
through
back
that
into
gate
the.
again.
You're
You got
allowed
the
to go back
copper
into the.
key.
Yes, you got the copper key from the candle. I'll add.
That's normal in this game.
Have you tried? Have you tried going through all the doors of the mansion already? Like everyone?
Yeah, the only locked one is the storeroom door, and
And-
I can't get through that.
And the key doesn't work.
I mean,
Check-
there could be some random door in here that requires the use of the copper key.
Inside
Did you
this.
talk to the shopkeeper since you've done this part?
Can you
I
jump on
think I
top
bought
of
food
the-
from them again, but that might have just been after, or I mean, that might have been before I did this part.
So go check the candle
Yeah.
where you got the copper key and see if maybe like if you died or something that it didn't like get removed from your inventory or something.
No, I have the copper key.
Oh, you do.
And he's hit that candle a bunch of times.
The candle's not there anymore.
Shakura says they do not know where to go.
Yeah. Rip.
You want me to just look this up?
No.
Guarding the mansion from evil and failing miserably. That's a chimera.
With those
That's-
extremities on their chests, they're guarding the mansion?
I thought it was a harpy because of that.
Master, that's nudity on stream. That's not allowed.
It's art. It's allowed.
You can't see nipples, so it doesn't count.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. I can just feel Master like going more insane. It's like, why haven't we ended the stream yet? We've run out of topics for like 10 minutes at this point. We're all just kind of watching Master suffer at this point.
How about this? Weapons in Castlevania. Leave it to whips, or should you be able to choose your weapon?
I don't really like the whip. As weird as that is. I liked it in Portrait of Ruin, so I guess I'm contradicting myself there.
I actually hated the whip in Portrait of Ruin too.
Really? You didn't like it in Portrait of Ruin? That's funny.
It was so weak, so I always just went straight to an axe.
I find the whip a little bit
Good.
boring to play the entire game with. I like it that you can have a little bit of variety. Like in Symphony of the Night, it's really fun at the beginning when you get your sword, and then you get the dagger and you stab really fast.
Oh, the Bastard, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty early on, it is pretty common for you to get that on your run.
Oh yeah, because it was right up there by the cannon where you would have to go around with the elevator.
Right.
God, I'm pathetic at that.
It'd be funny if like you scrolled down far enough and it's just like storeroom key.
Purchase child. So we'll check, make sure I did scroll down all the way.
Storeroom key or progress. Okay, you have scrolled down all the way.
It's hard because, like, when you scroll down, there's a delay before you can scroll down again. So, like, you know, feasibly, I could be like, oh, maybe I didn't scroll down enough.
This game just feels unfinished.
They made it a lot better in Legacy of Darkness.
Yeah, it
It
sounds
was
like
not this bad. Like, I still wandered a little bit, but not this long.
sounds
Maybe
like,
I'm just bad at the game.
No, this game is definitely trash.
sounds like if I ever did review this, I should probably go with the Legacy of Darkness version.
Yes, you should. Because this one is... Ooh.
Really interesting. So, so next week is going to be the game night. The week after that, we thought it would be fun to talk about bad arguments for why a game is bad. And and then maybe talk about ways that the argument can be made better, or maybe what they mean by the argument. Because I think a lot of times people will say it's bad for this reason, and it's not really the reason, if that makes sense. And I thought it would be fun to talk about that. So if anybody wants to comment on the YouTube video or just discuss on the Discord about different arguments that they've heard that kind of annoy them, it'd be fun to talk about them on stream and maybe talk about where they might be coming from and how the argument could be improved.
So obviously you're going to play a bad game, so we can use that as a discussion point, right?
Yes, actually. I'm going to actually play Metamorphose next time. Because I hyped that up, and then we did the Dark Souls joke. I think we'll actually play Metamorphose X next time, and which I don't consider like a super bad game, but it's amusing, the production values of that game.
A game can have a lot of bad aspects to it without being bad overall.
Right.
So.
And I had some examples of maybe some arguments that I've heard people say that, or I hear commonly as a reason why a game is bad. That, but I think it'd be fun to hear from you and hear what you think are some arguments that we should discuss.
Master, are you trying to kill yourself?
Yes. It's not working.
No.
And you
Don't
keep trying it
come
the same
down.
way. You are going insane.
Well, no, first I tried jumping over, then I tried falling off the railing, then I tried jumping off the railing.
Just
So
go off the
those were
fountain
3
and
different events.
Jump off the fountain.
That's true, I should go do that.
Or you just go find any enemy.
No, he has to do it by his own will.
We'll end the stream as soon as Master figures out how to kill himself.
Great way to end a stream.
I think it's a logical end to this game.
Oh god.
The quiet sound of Master's footsteps as he looks for a monster now. That's the other thing, is like that vampire dude's like, this castle is a castle from hell and blah blah blah, but there's like empty hallways everywhere. It
They
seems
kind
like
of explain it a little more in Legacy.
Master wants to kill himself with fall damage. I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
Have you checked that wall that's opposite the door? Like, that has the pillars on it? See if you can, there's a secret entrance there or something?
What are you talking about?
Maybe you
over
can just
here?
leave the mansion at this point. Like, go out the front door and then
Well,
go out
the gate's still down.
Oh, is
I'm
it?
looking it up.
So like that, but on the ground floor, on the opposite side.
I think you have to fall a pretty good distance before fall damage takes you.
Seems like it.
I think the fall damage is just an analog for the bottomless pits you would have found in other Castlevania games.
Probably.
Oh,
But it has the water for that.
True.
Could kill myself if I wait here long though.
storeroom doesn't really matter. That's literally a storeroom.
Or the ghost will just kill me.
There's a key in the garden you have to get. Isn't that what he already got?
Yeah, where do I use it?
You have to go through the garden maze again. That's why.
No! See, that's where I said it probably was, because that's like the worst possible place for progression.
Yeah, remember there was a door that was locked actually that you encountered in there.
That's funny.
Well, doors were locked before, I think some of them were locked and then I'd wait for the child to, go through them.
Yeah, but now there's now one's unlocked and you can fight the boss, so.
Well, do I really want to do that now? Isn't
No.
it like the end of the stream?
Yeah, it's the end of the stream at this point.
You have 1 minute to go kill this boss.
Do it. You can do it. I believe in you.
I think he's given up. This is pretty funny to watch, though.
Yeah. Like,
It reminded me of Scooby-Doo
Like-
running.
like Reinhardt's dejected look is probably pretty like representative of Master at this point.
Is this funny that this is like an improvement on the game? Somehow he
You
hasn't
wanted
died
the camp
yet.
levels, you got the camp levels.
How have you not died?
Because he just healed.
Running past my problems.
Yeah, you can let go of the fast forward button occasionally.
No, this is what I'm doing. This isn't even the right way.
Sonic speed. No.
There are so many baffling decisions in this game. Although the mansion doesn't look bad. Like, whoever constructed the mansion...
Every Castlevania game after with castles are just terrible.
Okay, the question is, do I stay on fast forward in the maze?
No.
You fast forward walk the whole way.
So, Master, which one do you like more? This game or Portrait of Ruin?
This game.
What? What is wrong with you?
I knew that was going to
Master?
be your answer. Is this the door? No, you've gone through
Just
this
the
door
warping
100 times
door.
before. All right, just out of curiosity, I want to see where this goes.
Extended stream as we watch Master delve more and more into insanity.
I go back.
Is that it?
Go back. No, this is where I came from.
Oh,
Turn right away.
well, I did say I was going to end the stream when Master dies, but that's when he was killing himself from
Oh,
the other
well.
side. He might actually die. Oh, he's going to eat. Nope, he's going to stop it. So
Look
at this
that
point,
sexy
He
portrait of
wants to
Reinhardt.
extend this game as much as possible.
Yeah, that portrait should be the thumbnail, honestly.
which portrait? His face?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just the portrait.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
Okay, I'll probably use
Sexy
that.
man.
Whoa.
You found it. That is
Oh,
very
it's this area. I know this area.
intuitive.
That was amazing. I definitely didn't check that door like 5 times.
Oh, did you just say it was amazing?
What you gonna do about my pun, huh?
I congratulate you because I approve.
All right, now the question is can he beat the boss without dying?
The bosses in this are such pushovers.
I was noticing you do a lot of damage to them. That was awkward. Why did it start with the
It
back?
depends on my whip upgrades. Right now I
Oh,
don't
it's
have
this
any.
one.
Is that a cat on a stick?
No, those are scarecrows. AKA the impaled skeletons.
Hmm. Uh-oh, the coffin's empty.
They're playing Bloody Tears, guys.
Briefly.
Wait, they did.
Yeah. The music in this game is decent. That's the one perk I'll give it. That's the mom.
What they should have done is play Bloody Tears like louder the closer I am to the chainsaw guy.
Wait, you didn't kill the villager when you saw him the first time?
No, this is different.
Oh. You have an epidemic of vampires.
This is a Riles, or whatever, the owner of the mansion.
He looks like the villager.
This song is also used in a previous Castlevania game. I just don't know which one.
Boy, the bosses really are just pushovers.
What if there's a phase 2?
No! This cannot be! Oh! Okay, based on Portrait of a Ruin, that's not how long the incubation period is for a vampire.
You don't know how long she's been there.
I have these things to cure vampirism. Why can't I just use one of those on her?
Wait, is vampirism an
You have
ailment in
to
this
kill
game?
her.
I don't know.
The misform thing is kind of annoying. I like how she's more powerful than the guy that created her.
Oh wow, that crawl.
Oh, she can heal herself even.
Oh, that's what I have to use the cure for.
Oh, you're a vampire now.
Not that one.
Status vamp.
Oh, you kidding me?
This game does not like you.
We might be able to end the stream on the death after all. So what does vamp do to you?
Issue, I think it is. I have to look it up. I'm gonna have to research the OST after. I think vampirism also just slowly drains your health.
Oh. Is he gonna make it? He
Oh,
made it.
wow.
Oh gosh.
Look at that.
Better
Good
go
job.
cure your vampirism.
I'm not a
Well,
vampire
no,
right now.
he's status good.
He's just
Oh,
almost
okay.
dead.
It's Des. Why would you
By
even
the
think
way,
to
this
check
is how you get
this?
to the next level.
It's like the only object
Oh.
in the room.
You can't attack when you're a vampire. It's like Curse and Symphony of the Night.
That's interesting.
I think. Issue no. What, tunnel?
I like how jumping into a pit actually refilled your health there.
Yeah.
They have this? Wait, what's the music?
Obviously, he has to keep going until he hits a save point now.
Right. No, I know. We're gonna stop
Oh,
at the
boy.
save point.
There's a rock crusher just immediately after a boss. What could go wrong?
Well, you're not a rock, so you should be fine.
It's true.
Immediately takes damage.
What the heck? This game is very incongruent with its technologies and
Actually, that's if you take into account the Castlevania anime, it makes sense if you want to follow that, but that's up to you.
sure, I guess.
Oh,
Is this Zelda music?
This is the Great Fairy with a spider on her back.
oh, so sexy.
This is literally Zelda music.
Oh, Arachne. Arachnes.
I like how just the second one emerges right after the first one.
It's Quelaag. Well,
They didn't have those in Legacy of Darkness, so that's interesting to see them.
something we should talk about sometime is how if you're going to make a horror game, you need to make your enemies hard. Because
Yeah.
when you can just whip them down like that, it kind of diffuses the tension way too quickly.
I mean, that's how Castlevania always was. Is like
Yeah.
it's gothic horror,
Oh,
but
I
it's
know.
not horror.
It's the Monster Mash thing. I get it, but still.
Yeah.
Especially when they like build them up with this big intro scene. I don't know.
Like the
they would
dogs come out and he just immediately downs them.
right.
To be fair, the dogs revive themselves.
It's almost funny. Yeah, the dogs at least revive themselves, but those spider ladies, it was like, are we supposed to be afraid of these things? Because they're not very scary.
The
So should
spider
we end it
laders,
here?
their names are Arachne. They're a common staple enemy since... Actually, not really common, but they were used in, I believe, Aria of Sorrow and Order of Ecclesia for sure.
Yeah, I think I remember them. You had the plant ladies, and then
Except they
you had
didn't have swords, so that's an upgrade.
That's literally Kellogg's right there.
Quelags. All right.
This area wasn't in Legacy of Darkness. Fun fact.
Well, thank you very
Thanks
much
not
for.
ending it on a death. I'm just too good at this game now.
You can just go jump in the water right now.
I
Thank.
could.
No, he's invested in this game now.
I gotta finish it.
Thank you
You're
very
not
much.
gonna finish it,
He's
man.
resting at the bonfire.
Thank you very much for joining, Itzero. We're glad to have you.
And I only swore once, and no one seemed to hear it, so I'm gonna call that a win.
Yeah, no, I don't think I remember the one, but
That was it, and it wasn't that bad, so I consider that a win for this stream.
no, good job.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely join us next week when we do the game night.
Oh yeah, always, always.
Well, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.